The 11th, named White Dogwood, is a downhill 520-yard par 4 with a pond to the left of the green and a bunker to the right. Both cause a lot of trouble each year. The 12th, Golden Bell, is perhaps the most famous hole in the world, with danger everywhere. Many aim for the flag, but look, get it even slightly wrong and you're in the azaleas at the back, or the bunkers at the front, or even worse, Rays Creek. Or you can play it safe and aim for the open green on the left. You chicken. Tiger Woods once said, if you make 4 bogeys from Thursday to Sunday, you're doing well. And the highest ever score on that hole? 13. It's a par 3. Tom Weiskopf in 1980 was the sorry soul. Often the iconic Ben Hogan Bridge is the only thing players enjoy about Golden Bell. Even if you escape there unscathed though, you met with Azalea, the dogleg par 5 13th. It tempts players to go for the green in 2, but cut over those trees on the left at your peril. Every year, it seems, Amen Corner destroys someone's dreams. Rory McIlroy dropped 3 shots through here as his round unravelled in 2011. In 2016, a year after navigating Amen Corner expertly, Jordan Spieth shot a quadruple bogey on the 12th to throw away his green jacket. I mean, it sounds like my game, to be honest. So who'll be the next to be brought to their knees, praying for mercy after Amen Corner?
Welcome to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davies. Joining me tonight is the one and only Johnny Nelson. We'll come to that in a minute, but what a week. What a week. Behave. Just behave. We've got 3 hours of this tonight. We'll go serious, but we'll go big and we'll go deep this week. What a week. The bigger picture. Conor Benn leaves Eddie Hearn in matchroom with seemingly no notice at all. Frank Warren and Queensbury start a process for breach of contract. Alexander Usyk is to face Rico Verhoeven at the Pyramids of Giza, but for the WBC heavyweight crown, with Rico not ever having fought at that level as a heavyweight boxer. Yes, a brilliant kickboxer, but this is the world we're now living in. Bilal Fawaz, now the British super welterweight champion, joins us. He still doesn't have a British passport, ironically. We'll go over that in detail, and we have much more for you tonight, including Paulie Malignaggi joining us from the United States. But we will discuss everything in what has been a momentous week in the world of boxing, both inside and outside the ring. Well, it's going to be one of those kind of nights with you interrupting me, but are you interrupting me as you always have done? I just want to take you back before we start, probably about, I want to say it's about 12 or 13 years when we first started doing these boxing shows on a Saturday nights. And we went over the fact that your real name is Ivanson Rani Nelson, MBE. MBE, the former British professional boxer, who, of course, was world cruiserweight champion for 7 years, undefeated, 13 title defences. You're an extraordinary character, man, and friend now. I've been involved in boxing for 35 years, but you've been involved since what are you, 59 now?
59. You actually reminded me, it's like 40 years.
45 years since you walked into the Brendan Ingle gym. We'll talk to you about you and Brendan Ingle in a bit when we get to Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn and his team. But Johnny, first of all, let's start this week with how you're feeling and how you feel about this momentous week in boxing. Can you remember a week like this with so many issues in the sport?
Gareth, what a week. What a week of boxing in and out of the ring. I think the public The one thing about social media is the public are able to follow the argument, follow the story, get involved, get emotionally attached, pick a side, and have a debate. So I'm trying to think, where do we start? Do we start with...
I'll start for you. I've got a running order.
Go on then, hit it.
We didn't have a running order back in those days. We just
winged it, baby.
We did wing it, but we know what we're talking about. We know what we're looking at. And I think that's a really important thing about tonight. And when we talk about the issues, we always say in boxing, say what you see, not what they're telling you to see. And first of all, let's start with this topic. Alexander Usyk announced yesterday Alexander Usyk will defend his WBC World Boxing Council heavyweight title against Rico Verhoeven on May 23rd. Now, I've known Rico a long time. I've been to some of his fights. He's an incredible champion in kickboxing. He's reigned supreme for about 10 or 12 years undefeated. He's a brilliant fighter, very famous figure in Holland. Sparred famously behind the scenes with Tyson Fury. There was talk of them fighting at one point. But the big thing here is, when they fight in the pyramids of Giza, the big question I've got to ask you is, would you have accepted someone from kickboxing fighting you for your world title while you were holding it, with him never having competed at that level?
Well, you've got to look at Alexander, what he's done. He's wiped the floor with everybody. He's established himself at the top there. So now you look at him and you'll think, financially, will he be in a better position than Tyson Fury? No, not in my opinion. Anthony Joshua? No, not in my opinion. The big money fights aren't out there for him, so he's got to do something. He's got to put himself in a position where he's got to win, because he's proved he's top draw. So in this fight here, I think it creates interest, intrigue. I'm quite sure there's a healthy pay packet at the end of it. This is now business for him. This is now because he's thinking, I've proved it all to you, so I've got to make as much as I can. Because remember, the talk was Deontay Wilder for a short while, because he wants to get all the scalps. He wants to look at the biggest names out there with the least amount of risk, and you can't blame him.
That was a legacy fight for him. Deontay Wilder was definitely a legacy fight.
Of course.
But it's a guy who'd had whatever it was, 10 or 11 defenses of the WBC title, who'd been a former champion, who'd been in a very well-publicised trilogy with Tyson Fury, who'd been at the top of the sport, statistically most dangerous punching heavyweight in the history of the heavyweight division. But this is a guy who's never boxed.
No, Tyson Fury did it.
Against?
Ali's done it.
Against Anthony Inoki.
Okay, yeah. So
Tyson Fury did it against the big man Francis Ngannou, of course.
Yeah. So why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he create that interest, create that intrigue, get people talking about him, and get himself out there? Why not? Why wouldn't he? Because he's got nothing else to prove now.
No, I agree with all of that, but I'm coming to the cusp of this. I'm coming to the crux of this, rather. 23rd of May, the Pyramids of Giza. There'll be a massive crowd. It'll be sold really brilliantly. This is the key for me. This is the key question. And this is where I depart from it being fine with Alexander Usyk having the fight. It's sponsored, promoted by Ring Magazine, by Seller. It'll be on DAZN.
You know where the roads are leading, don't you?
But, yes, we're going to come on to that in a big way, but it's the World Boxing Council title on the line. Now, the big question is, we can't dispute that Alexander Usyk ought to have a great fight, somewhere amazing, first time in the Giza Pyramids, heavyweight title. But should the World Boxing Council, should Mauricio Suleiman have allowed that belt to be on the line? In my view, he shouldn't have been. And are we seeing the WBC being bought out here again? And is that going to lead them to being snookered? In my view, it snookers them because they're giving up their belt for payment again.
This is just my opinion, so don't try and sue me, whatever. I do think slowly but surely, everybody's looking at the money that Turki Al-Sheikh's brought into the game. They're all trying to think of the best move, because I'm quite sure he'll put an amazing packet there to say, well, why not? And so Solomon will be thinking, you know what, I might better jump before we push and we're out on the outside looking in. I agree with you. I think he's looking forward. He's thinking, I've got to do this while I've got a choice. But I think he's been cajoled. He's been slowly but surely dragged into that temptation to think, right, stay away from the light, son. That's exactly what he's doing. And once he moves in there, I think then he's compromising himself, because Turkey's intention, and he's always said his intention, is to rule our game. I met him a year ago in Knightsbridge, and we're in this hotel suite, and it was beautiful. He had a big screen on, all the screen. He was watching boxing. He's like a man child, and he's talking about his dream and what he wants to do.
Or
everything.
a maverick genius.
Yeah. So he's talking about his dream, all the things he wanted to do, and he sat there, and even then he said, "Eddie, Frank, I'm going to take over from them. They'll be out the game." I'm like, well, this was back then.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm hearing all this story now, you look at the situation. Frank's taking him to court. Eddie's is in, but he's not.
Get into that.
Eddie's is in, but he's not in. So what I'm saying, what's happening with the WBC? They're all saying we need to play ball here while we can, to see if we get on the right side of him.
But
are they all right with
Are
us?
they being played ball with? That's the big question for me. Here's the thing. I've no issue with the event. I have no issue with the fight. But it's ludicrous that the WBC title is on the line. Sonny Liston, here's the champions that have held the WBC heavyweight title in line. Sonny Liston, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Frank Bruno, Vitaly Klitschko, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, now Alexander Usyk. If for any reason,
I tell you the one thing they've got right. The one thing they've got right is they recognise that Alexander Usyk is the best heavyweight in the world.
I think we all recognise.
Right. So regardless of what belt everybody else has got,
but it doesn't need to be for the WBC belt.
So they're saying no, we're sticking with the champion. We're sticking with the champ because he's the man, and that's what they're doing. They're sticking with the man that they recognise as the best heavyweight fighter in the world.
Yeah, but don't recognise Rico Verhoeven in that same breath. Create a different belt. Create a belt that brings the champions.
There's too many belts around.
No, I mean for this one-off fight. I don't agree the WBC. I agree with the event. I agree with monumental matchmaking being made in terms of the greatest kickboxer ever against one of the greatest heavyweights in history. I rank him about number 7 as the great heavyweights in history. I've done a list on it. For me, Lennox Lewis is the greatest, believe it or not. Muhammad Ali's in the top 4. George is in the top, Big George. But I don't imagine, as we saw with Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury, where Tyson Fury got kind of embarrassed in that fight. He hadn't prepared for the guy, and he was dropped in the 3rd round. Yes,
he was overlooked.
He overlooked him. Yeah. If Usyk overlooks Rico Verhoeven, who's a dangerous fighter, how does it reflect on boxing?
It becomes the Wild West.
It's always the Wild West.
It becomes the wild West. But in all honesty, do you honestly think that Usyk is the same mental capacity of Tyson Fury?
So we're saying it's a 99% to 1% that he wins the fight.
Without a doubt. So for him to make a Tyson Fury mistake, which we all. You hear the rumours of his preparation for it. Is this guy's proved that I'm a different kettle of fish. That's not me. I'm different gravy. So that's probably more than likely not going to happen. But as they say, one punch changes everything. But I think this is a business move more than a show move.
We're going to get into Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Turki Al-Sheikh, Dana White, Salah, Zuffa boxing next. But as Usyk said, I truly respect people who reach the very top in their sport. Rico is one of them, a powerful athlete and a great champion. He's truly the king of kickboxing. Being a champion isn't just about belts. I'm ready and looking forward to meeting him in the ring. It's going to be a unique experience for both of us. A big night is coming. The heavyweight title fight, aptly named Glory in Giza, will be the first ever to feature in Egypt. Johnny Nelson's with me tonight. We're talking billion-dollar lawsuits next.
Declan Rice made a mistake, but Declan shows you how good he is. He didn't let it bother him. He was brilliant the rest of the game. And everybody makes mistakes. He put his hand up straight away. No, he's made a mistake. But after that, he was superb, absolutely superb, like he's been all season, by the way. And then the big plus point for the game was Gyökeres. It's got to be, because I thought without his goals, he played quite well, because he was always involved. He was making better runs. He was getting to more dangerous areas, but he took his goals very well. His first goal, if you look at his first goal, Al, it's a great first touch. You know, it's all about first touch in football. He gets out of his feet, and it's like it's the same motion as he touched. He's run onto it and he pinged it, and the keeper's had no chance. And the last goal was very, very similar. I'm not going to compare him with Thierry Henry, but the way he played on the right back shoulder, and it was a really good pass through to him. He was strong, but then he cut inside and he just found that he passed it into the net, which he's got to do more often. But he was getting so much better areas. But as I said before, you can't just have one game like that, Al. You've got to do it week in, week out.
Well, and that's where Declan is so good. It's every game.
Oh, absolutely.
You know he's very elegant, is he? He's an elegant player, right?
Yes, you've got to get him on the ball as much as you can. He's very, very, he knows exactly who's around him. Look, Odegaard's a great player as well, and it'd be interesting to see what he does. Odegaard was on the bench against Spurs. He come on. But I think Eze probably will keep his position because he scored 2 goals.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davies. Johnny, or Ranny Nelson, the former WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the World, is with me tonight. But not just Champion of the World, but great character, friend and colleague. We're going to talk about the $1 billion lawsuit in boxing this week and many other things tonight. But first of all, how does a VIP private suite for you and 11 mates for a day at the Cricket Sound this summer? Thanks to Pitch Experiences, we're sending you to their super box at the Oval for the England versus Sri Lanka ODI in total luxury. We're talking fine dining, your own personal mixologist, private balcony and a Q&A with cricket legends while you watch the action. It's the ultimate summer day out. For your chance to win, text WIN-WIN to 83338, 83338, that's 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close on the 6th of March 2026 at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a talkSPORT promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text WIN-WIN to 83338 now. So the top line is that earlier in the week, Wednesday, the story broke in the Telegraph newspaper, written by the associate editor Gordon Rayner, that Frank Warren, or Queensberry, certainly in the documents, could be suing Seller and Zuffa Boxing, otherwise known as TKO Group Holdings, the parent company, claiming that it was understood to have sent letters before action to Seller and TKO warning them of its intention to sue them for breach of contract. That was Queensberry, unhappy about many things in their dealings with Seller and TKO, that they'd opened their books to them, and that Queensberry had initially had a contract with Seller to be the guiding promoters for the organisation as they came into the sport. Obviously, October 2023 we go back to, with Tyson Fury, as we mentioned earlier, fighting Francis Ngannou in the first big opening of the Riyadh season. Since then, I mean, it's amazing it's only October 2023. It's only 2.5 years, but look how the wheels and the cogs have turned, that now we have Zuffa Boxing creating a massive storm in the sport. I wrote a follow-up story, Johnny, which was headlined the UFC chief Dana White forming Zuffa Boxing with Saudi power broker Turki Al-Sheikh in a direct challenge to the sport's established order. As I said, we've witnessed many new eras to boxing, but the alliance between Saudi Arabian government official Turki Al-Sheikh and UFC President White is a partnership that is changing the fabric of the sport. Are they going to create a two-tier system for boxing? It's a huge moment, a seismic moment for me in the movement of the sport.
Well, I think it's ruffled everybody's feather going left, right and centre. I also think that the same thing what's happened with Eddie and Frank over here in the UK will happen with Dana. I think
You think Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana will?
Yeah, of course, without a doubt. I think Turki Al-Sheikh did what he did. Will do what he did over here. Understand how the game works. Understand what ticks, what their strengths are, and what the weaknesses are. Gets the play. Think right. Thank you very much. I'm off. He'll do the same over there with Dana. And so right now, and I'm quite sure Dana.
We were talking about this earlier. He will use the Ring magazine belt in your view as his.
Yeah, it's his.
Point.
So I don't believe that Turkey is a massive supporter of the Zuffa belt. He just wants it to be the Ring magazine belt. But right now he's got to play ball. He's got to play ball because he understands Dana's a big move, a big shaker over that side of the world. So and then once he gets
on the White House lawn, the UFC with Donald Trump.
So once he gets himself
on the board of Meta, isn't he? So
once he gets himself into that position, do not be surprised at the same move what he's done here. Remember, this guy brought Eddie and Frank together. These guys were arch enemies. You know, he's put everybody in the same pot, even Ben Shalom. Everybody's in the same pot, and he's thinking, right, I've got you in play. You know, I know what works. So if I pay enough, you guys will do whatever it has to be done, which they've proved it. So now the same thing's going to happen with Dana. That's why he can offer 15 million for Conor Ben to fight Prograis. You know, or to make the move. So I think this is part of a big play. What in the meantime? Dana has done exactly what he said he's going to do. He's absolutely making every promoter panic because if their fighters aren't tied up, and I mean super tied up, their fighter's going to be looking across thinking, wow, you know what? That's where the dough is. And Turkey knows that. This is a part of the conversation. He knows that'll happen.
After years of gestation, Zuffa has emerged from the shadows to expand into the global boxing landscape. We're going to talk about the shock signing of Conor Ben in a minute in the next section. In fact, on the top of the hour, we'll talk about that in detail because Bilal Fawaz will join us soon and talk about his case. Is there any way that Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Queensberry, Matchroom, any of the other promoters, Ben Shalom, and his outfit, the Boxer, Double X Boxer, is there any way that they could have gone a different route because they were showered with wealth and gifts and promotional nous from the Saudis?
They couldn't have gone a different route because
I don't think they could have.
Turkey,
how could they have said no to
Turkey
it?
basically put enough prize money in front of them for them to it'd be impossible for them to say no or the fighters to say no.
Yeah.
Because if Turkey said to fighter A and fighter B, I will pay you this ridiculous amount of money to fight each other, but if your promoters, your managers don't play ball, you're going to lose it. Simon Jordan made his word were glorified agents.
Well, I remember that a couple of years ago that he'd said that, and it's
but it's true.
Glorified agents, or absolute promoters.
It's slightly insulting, but it's true.
No. Simon made a very valid point. But what they could become is obsolete promoters, let alone agents.
And Turkey sees that. Turkey sees that from the outside looking in.
But is the danger for boxing? Has the danger always been that we have sanctioning bodies? 4 or 5 of them at the moment, if you count the IBO with the four.
That are shooting themselves in the foot constantly.
Just one sec. Is the problem always been in boxing where it's not broken, but the model is broken in as much as there's no world governing body, there's no schedule, there's no alignment. I mean, I'm on the Ring magazine's rankings panel. The Ring magazine tends to vote the right 15 in each division or 10 in each division. The sanctioning bodies, it's a negotiation with promoters around the world to get people placed. You look at the world sanctioning bodies at the moment and where the top 15 are, it's a mess. And it's been a mess.
Our sport has, over the years, our sport has become that diluted. You go to the average man in the street 20 years ago that knew a bit about boxing, he or she would be able to say who the world heavyweight champion of the world is. Do it now, it's been that diluted. One sanctioning body over another sanctioning body. This is our champion, or I'm stripping him because I don't know, for whatever reason. So our sport shoots itself in the foot. So I understand to have one belt, to have one sanctioning body that says this is the rule, this is how we play, this you're number one, you're number two. Opportunities come, number one fights number two fights, and do it that way. It's fair, because if you're not into our sport and you see this, you think our sport is like that's why we get that fixed link to us, or it's not right.
I don't necessarily agree. I know where you're going with it, but I think it's fractured and diluted. I think there's no doubt about that. But when someone becomes a star in our sport, they don't need a belt, as Conor Benn is an example of right now. Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, were they to fight again, wouldn't need a belt. You
saw Terence Crawford's argument with the WBC in regards to the sanctioning fees.
That's a whole nother story.
Okay, you understand. So his argument is this: why should I? So you understand all the sanctioning bodies, they are not doing themselves any favour and at least singing from the same hymn sheet. And so you can understand why Turkey can come in, swoop in and knock everybody's head together and dangle that big golden carrot, and people say, I'll have some of that.
Money's always spoken in boxing. I think it has for a very long time anyway, going back to the times when it was ruled by the mob. But can it be fixed? We don't know. Can it be, which Dana White wants to do with 8 weight divisions, one champion, all under one body, the revival of the Muhammad Ali Act, where you can promote and manage a boxer. It may be an answer for a while. I don't think we know how it's going to properly play out. Your argument tonight about Turki Al-Sheikh eventually splitting forces with Dana White is one that I'd not really thought about up till now, to be honest. But that is possible.
If it's played right, it's fair. If it's played right, to say, then there's no nonsense. There's no misunderstanding. There's nobody controlling one particular area of it. One promoter will have an allegiance with the WBO or the WBC, so he'll make sure his man slips in. It needs tidying up. There's too much skullduggery gone on. So therefore, when Turkey comes out with these big bright ideas, people say no chance. He hasn't got a chance. Then Dana's come in and said, yeah, I'm aligned with that. Got no chance. If Dana thinks that Turkey won't do what he's done to Eddie and Frank, to him, he's a fool. I don't think he's a fool.
That's fascinating. Well, we're going to be joined for a moment or two by my colleague and friend Spencer Oliver, I believe, who is at the York Hall. They're just trying to get him at the moment. I think we'll wait for Spencer to join us on the line. But I cannot remember a time where it's been so complex with promoters and sanctioning bodies and where we're going. I still think it's fascinating. The nuance levels are incredible.
From a fighter's point of view, when I see the promoters now like they're on hot stones, like just trying to get themselves into position and fight, I love that. Because usually it's the fighters that are in this position. The fighters that are thinking, where shall I go, what shall I do, being pulled left or right. Now the promoters are now trying to fight the corner, and they've got to push and pull. They've got to argue with each other. I like this because what will happen is somebody will get stuff sorted out. Sharpish.
We'll come back to that all the way through the show tonight, but we are going to be joined, I think he's at the York Hall, Bethnal Green, by Spencer Oliver. Are you there, Spencer?
Yeah, how are we doing, guys?
We're very good, thank you. We've only got a few minutes. What are you doing tonight? What are you up to? And why the devil aren't you in here with me and Johnny?
Right, I've got to tell you, it's absolutely nuts in here. Christian Vetti's just beat Juan Manuel Perez. He sold 25 grand's worth of tickets. Guys, let me tell you, it was a right war. This is a Nelson boxing promotion with TM14. And Alfie Clegg is boxing Steve Bruce next. And it's the first time these guys have promoted a British title. It's the British flyweight title on the line. So, yeah, lots going on here at the York Hall, Bethnal Green. And as you guys know, when it's busy in here, when it's packed, it's absolutely magical, and we've got that tonight.
Lovely, Spence. Thank you very much. We just got to see the little bit of your forehead then as you were running around York Hall, and beautiful it looked and very suntanned as well. There he is. Finally, we can see you. It looks like a great atmosphere there, Spencer.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's always great down here, as you guys know. York always churning out massive fights, massive nights. And like I say, for Nielsen Boxing, by the way, if any guys are listening on the radios and want to switch over to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, you can watch this show live on the YouTube channel right now.
All right.
Title fight, history in the making.
All right, thanks very much, Spencer. That'll do. If you don't want to watch it, you can always watch it back on replay later on as well and watch us for now. I think apparently Spencer was holding his phone to his ear because it's so noisy.
It sounds like someone's punched him in the lip.
No, it sounds like he's got a lift. It sounds like he's got a lift.
That's why he wants to show us his face.
I hope he's got his teeth in.
That's why we only saw his forehead.
Brilliant. Well, coming up next, we speak to the British Super Welterweight champion, Bilal Fawaz, who joins us in the studio. The British Super Welterweight champion and Commonwealth champion who's been here in the UK for 24 years but doesn't have a British passport. All that coming up next.
Let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Has Igor Tudor already bitten off more than he can chew? Is it strange to hear a Tottenham manager speaking about a small club mentality? This is him talking about the scale of the task ahead.
Very tough, but this is what I said before. I don't change my opinion. It is how is it. So daily work, focus, raise in all things we need to do. Physical condition, mentally, confidence, performance, and waiting the players to come back.
Is this the biggest job in terms of, we will call it firefighting, you've had?
Probably if I recognize the difficulties there are, probably yes. Probably yes.
You're still
but
confident?
It's even bigger challenge, you know, even a bigger motivation to do this, and we do it. We do it, but I agree with you. Even not looking to the style now in this moment. So style need to be in the second moment, this because now it's a question of life and death. It's really the question that every game need to be prepared in that way. How we gonna take these points? You know, one way, other way. In Italy they use the terms, you know, like have a mentality of a small team. You know, we use it in Italy that kind. So that's the key always, you know. With the handles, with the willing, with the wish to have always motivation, like you play against bigger teams. So that's the start, of course, and then we work a lot of that. They are aware of everything.
Has been fantastic. Nice work from Fawaz, just in front of us, especially to the body, hammering away. This is the best part of the fight here from the Londoner.
Are you the man to do it?
I am the man. And the new British Commonwealth Super Welterweight Champion, Bilal Fawaz.
You are looking at pictures of Bilal Fawaz, the Southern Area, the English, the British, and the Commonwealth Super Welterweight champion who has joined us in the studio. Last weekend, of course, he defeated Ishmael Davies via majority decision, 115, 113, 115, 114, 114, 114. He showboated some of his way through it as well. He is with us now, 24 years in the UK. The irony of being British champion, but you still don't hold a British passport. How glorious is that in one way, but how weird is that in another one, my friend?
Thank you, everyone, for having me. Thank you. I can tell you it's gratifying because I know how hard I've worked. You know, when you work in a workplace and you know at the end of the day you're gonna get paid, you're gonna get a paycheck, right? You know that paycheck is coming. You just haven't reached that date yet. That's how I felt based on how much work ethics I've put into the game, and I knew I was going to get the belt. There's no play about it.
I had you on as a guest on my podcast, and you were so confident, had so much self-belief. Then I had your Ishmael on after that, and I thought, I saw you're a smart thinker. You think outside the box. And that's very good to be able to do. You're one of the few fighters that can think in a fight and change tactics in a fight. So when it came to this fight, you against Ishmael, I thought you've outfoxed him, outmoved him again. It was just brains, and that's got to be a mirror of life. How life's been for you inside and outside the ring.
I've been tortured. I've been tormented. I've been put and tested. So no one can test me more than the way life has tested me.
You always say that, don't you, Bilal, that your biggest test is outside the ring rather than inside it. Let me just go, if you're listening tonight, please stay with us, because Bilal Fawaz is a very special person. Both these men are, in fact, because we're going to come to immigration issues that both of you have had. Because Johnny told me about his brother a little while ago. We'll come to that tonight in this as well.
Wow, nice.
Bilal was born of a mother who was an immigrant into Nigeria from Benin. His dad was Lebanese. They've both passed away. Full disclosure, I spent yesterday morning with Bilal as well at home and met his two beautiful sons and his partner. They've all got British passports.
All of them.
All of them. Your wife and your two beautiful young sons, they've got passports, British passports. You were child trafficked here. And you came here at 14, you ran away, you looked after yourself. You're an extraordinary human being. You're nearly 38 years young, and as Johnny just rightfully said, in the ring, you are an incredible survivor and an erudite fighter. Those two fights, by the way, Johnny, against Junaid Boston showed, he's a young stud as well, isn't he? The draw and the win showed just what Bilal is. Bilal, are you able to fully celebrate? I need to explain that background for people listening that don't know you. Are you able to fully celebrate being British and Commonwealth champion, given that you haven't got your passport?
I think you know the answer, right?
No, come on, tell us.
It's like you having a birthday and they give you half a cake. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Why is it? I'm telling you, right? I can't really celebrate because there is something fundamentally missing. And that is the thing that makes me grounded, that makes me say, this is my home. I can die here. I'm settled. I'm creating my legacy. I have a family. I have sons. I am building something that I know that it's secure. I don't have that fundamental belief, but I have all the things that everybody wants, which is the British Commonwealth, and I can't do nothing about it.
But you don't have that feeling. You're a proud British man. I didn't mention you represented England as captain of the amateur team as well.
I was.
You didn't get a chance to go to 2 Olympic Games that you wanted to do. One of them could have been London 2012.
That's right. And 2016.
And 2016. And that feeling, and we went over this a lot yesterday, and I was very moved by it. So was my cameraman Brody, and you were very moved at the time, and we had to stop for a moment while we were filming. We're making a documentary that's coming out shortly. You don't feel like you are British, but you don't feel that sense of belonging, and you need that in your heart.
I get all the praise that I belong here because people show me love, but the most important thing is for the government to show me that I am part of the team when I don't get that.
Well, where are you now? Where are you now in regards to in regards to your citizenship?
I'm on a 10-year route to settlement. I have a 10-year route. I've been here for 24 years, but they still gave me a 10-year route to settlement. Why didn't they take that 10 years out of the 24 years and grant me an indefinite leave? So I've spent 6 years now. I have 4 more years plus 1 more year through the indefinite and another year to acquire the citizenship. So I have about 6-7 more years. By the time that gets to the point where I have the passport and I can travel, my career is down the drain.
Johnny, we're going to wait. We're going to try and change that. Well, I spoke in depth yesterday to your human rights lawyer, a partner at Dayton Pierce and Glynn.
What's his name?
Ahmed Aidid, and we can hear him now because he spoke to me earlier on.
We can hear him.
We can hear him.
Bilal is a child survivor of trafficking. He was trafficked to the UK and forced into domestic servitude as a child. When he finally escaped, the authorities took him into care, but they never apprehended his traffickers and the people that abused him. I don't even think they tried. They also never applied to regularize his immigration status in the UK. That was the responsibility of the local authority at the time, who were acting as his appropriate adult and de facto parents, as Bilal was an orphan. Bilal was then the victim of the hostile immigration environment when he became an adult, and he was denied the immigration status and protection he was entitled to.
Well, there you go. Ahmed Aidid, and he's absolutely stoked. We're going to get this moving for you. We pledged here on talkSPORT several weeks ago when you came on the show. We pledged that we will do everything possible for you to get your messages out there. Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, we want a message for her tonight from all of us. What would you say if you had her on the line right now?
I would say show a bit of sympathy, a bit of humanity, because you can see that I'm not asking for something that would allow me to go and claim benefit. I'm asking for something that would allow me to go and prove to the world that I will make Great Britain proud. I am the domestic champion. There is nobody in the country that has what I have. And the only place that I can go after this, it's world.
And the point being that you do not have the right at the moment, even though you have right of remain to stay, which Mr. Aidid got for you a few years ago, and he's going to push the case now. If you've got a world title opportunity abroad right now, you've got no way of leaving the country. You're incarcerated in the country.
I'm incarcerated, like I am in prison. I'm on a leash, and there is a limit to how far I can go, because I can't leave the border, but I can't travel out of the border. And I need to travel out of the border to fulfill my potential. And the thing is, right, I am 38 years old. I don't have time. And I'm proving everyone wrong. Look, I am the British and Commonwealth champion, and I've only turned pro 3 years ago. It's unusual. No one will fight me. I'm a double champion. I have the English, I have the British, I have the Southern area, and somebody needs to challenge me for it. But because they know I'm dangerous, and the only person that can actually step up and challenge me are people that are outside the country. I can't get that.
What you're hearing right now is a miscarriage of justice, which is what we will talk about in the next section. We'll take this on even further.
Betty just brought in a packet of disco salt vinegar, which I smashed down in that ad break. We've talked about Chris before. We won't go there necessarily. Unbelievable packet of Chris.
I think they could be their top three for definite. They could be Mount Rushmore, then.
Oh yeah, 100% Mount Rushmore.
Unbelievable, them.
The problem with that, and like all things now, I was going to say crisps, but all like Twix, Snickers, crisps, everything's smaller now.
No, but usually I grab these but usually there's a bigger bag than this.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
What does it say? What's that? It's 55. Oh, 55p for that.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I don't think that was that bad. But it says underneath RRP.
Yeah.
What's that?
Retail price.
Okay, 55p.
Yeah. What do you think it was like? They're going to die. Rest in peace.
Nah. There's a couple of items in the shop I bought it from.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obviously not going to name what the shop is.
Yeah.
It says like, it says on the can, not for single sale.
Yeah.
Oh, why are you sending single cokes then?
Were they doing that?
Yeah, I never tell you it is.
You can't do that.
I'd never ever say where it's from, but that I don't mind
what,
that.
an actual shop?
Yes.
Around here?
Not for. Oh, I'm telling you, not for individual.
You can tell me where is it? Is it downstairs or across the road?
No, it's not around here.
So it is.
The shop I go to. I can sell them.
Oh.
Not for individual sale.
You know what that means, right?
What?
You know why it says it on that?
Yeah, because in a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's opening a
Cool,
pack.
so I knew that.
Right,
I ain't got a problem with that.
No, I ain't got a problem with that at all. Yeah.
We all got to earn a living, right?
We've all got.
Welcome back to Fight Night. Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davies. Johnny Ranny Nelson, the former WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the World. 7 years he reigned, by the way. 13 title defences.
Can't get rid of me. I'm like sticky glue.
You're like sticky glue, and you're still a big, handsome brute. He's in the studio with me tonight until midnight, and the one and only, the extremely... I'm lost for words to describe you, Bilal Fawaz, with your 4 belts that you brought in tonight, the Southern area, the English, the British, and the Commonwealth Super Welterweight titles. You are, and I've had the privilege of spending time with you, an extraordinary human being, and I think there's something heroic about you, and justice will be served for you. You are the champion of all these belts, but just to reiterate it, if you're just joining the show, or you're listening in the car, or you're watching on TV, you do not have a British passport, even though you've been here 24 years coming up. They even tried to deport you a couple of times and took you into deportation centres, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They had the plan that they want to take me away and deport me to Nigeria.
Where you were born, where your mum was an immigrant from Benin, where your dad was Lebanese, and they both passed away.
And I tried to acquire a passport from Nigerian embassy. They said, "You're not a Nigerian. We don't have record of you. You don't look like a Nigerian. Your hair doesn't belong to Nigeria."
Is that what they said to you?
Yeah, I don't look like them. I'm not a Nigerian. And I took that letter to the Home Office. They disregarded it, and then they locked me up. After representing the country and captain England, and out of those 6 countries that I fought against while representing England, one of them was against Nigeria.
Wow.
So
ironically.
I know. So I fought for England against Nigeria, but then England decided they want to deport me to Nigeria, and I never lost, by the way.
I don't want to say that you are an isolated case, because you're not. There's lots of situations like this. When we were filming with you yesterday, there was a girl in the cafe who said she'd come from Poland here 17 years ago and she was still waiting for her passport. Johnny's got a story about... I remember talking to Johnny, who was desperately upset about this a couple of years ago, when the Windrush immigrants into the UK, retrospectively, their passports and their right to stay and right to remain was looked into. Tell us the story about your brother. What's he now, 75?
He's 75 years old, 76 years old. He came here when he was 16 years old from Jamaica. Never claimed a penny off the state. And he's got really bad eyesight. He's albino, so his eyesight's terrible. They wanted to class him as disabled. He's like, no, I'm not disabled. He just wouldn't. So they wouldn't
have it. Yeah.
Wouldn't have it. No, I'm not disabled. He worked on the market stalls, did everything, refused. Never been in trouble by the police. So he said, no, I'm not doing it. In London, I think down in Brixton, they'll know him as Yellow Man. So they'll think, oh, I know that Yellow Man. That's my brother.
What, the Yellow Man?
Yeah, his nickname
as
was
in Roots Reggae.
Yeah. So that was his nickname, Yellow Man. So he got a letter, and he's pretty cool, Taslim. He got a letter about 2 or 3 years ago to say that they were going to send him back to Jamaica. And he's like, I've not been there. I've not been. What?
For 60 years.
Where are they going to say? I've been here like 60, 70, 50, 60 years. And so he was like laughing it off. I said, Taslim, you got to be serious about it. Because once they put you in one of those deportation camps, you're gone. There's no coming back. He said, where are they going to send me to? Because he's been in this country most of his life.
60 years.
60 and the rest. So then he then I thought, and we all understood how serious it was, and I think Theresa May was in charge at the time, and I tweeted her, put it on Twitter to tell the part of the story. This is my brother. This is what you're doing. Left hand talk to the right hand. What you guys doing? This guy's never claimed off the state. He's been here all of his life. He's got two daughters here, and so all of a sudden, I'd heard there was a call to Sky trying to get hold of my brother, because my brother's second name isn't the same as mine. He's Muslim now, so yeah. So they couldn't find this guy. They wanted to shut this up. Now I had a voice. What happened to my brother was happening to many folk.
But nobody could talk about.
But nobody could talk about. So all of a sudden, my brother's case disappeared. It got sorted out. I was fortunate because I shone a light on it, but there were many other families that have been through the hellfire and back again because the left hand wasn't talking to the right hand. Common sense didn't prevail.
Right?
And so when I hear your story, common sense is not kicking in. It's not prevailing, which to me, it's sad, but it's dangerous.
It ruins people's life. Just one department is making a decision that the other department doesn't know about, but all of them are of the same department. That ruins and take 10.
Are you still scared? Are you still? You've got your 2 points here. You've got your wife here. Are you still scared that you could get snatched up?
No, he's got right to remain.
The thing is,
but the left hand's not talking to the right hand.
Yeah, they can't change that because I have right to remain. And the thing is, right, no matter what they try to do, they can't deport me to any country because I am staying.
But what you don't have is the right to leave and come back, and that's what he needs now to complete the round. I spoke to a very helpful woman on Thursday night.
What's her name?
Zarguna Kargar.
And where's she from?
From the Home Office.
Really?
Obviously, I got a verbal response, and then I got a written response. They, as you know, because you've been through this so many times, as your lawyer will have been, they do not routinely comment on individual cases, but I got extreme sympathy from her, and there is great optimism, both from what I've been hearing and from your lawyer as well, that we will be able to force this issue and try and find a stay of execution for you and not have to wait, because you're only 1 year into that 10-year process, I understand.
No, I'm 6 years.
6 years in.
Are you 6 years in? So so we want you to be able to get your British passport, your biometric travel card, whatever you can get, any kind of ID card.
I just want to travel and work.
Exactly, to travel and work.
If I was someone that haven't made any progression in the country and I still need to fight my way up, then yes, I wouldn't bother myself. But the thing is, there is no more way up at the point that I am. I am the Commonwealth and the British and the English champion at the same time.
Would you beat Josh Kelly right now because he holds one of the 154 belts?
Well, I can tell you, Ishmael Davies that I toyed with, easily. You can see I won that fight easily, right? Now, Josh Kelly had a hard time with
Bakhmadaliev.
Not
Ishmael Davies.
Ishmael Davies.
With Ishmael
came in at 1 week's notice.
Exactly.
Sorry, he's just won the world title. Was my point
but
against
when
Bakhmadaliev.
Ishmael Davies fought Josh Kelly had a hard time with Ishmael Davies. Ishmael Davies even caught Josh Kelly by the eye, And the fight was, speculations. Nice. It was a good fight. But look what I did to Ishmael Davis. That shows that I can tell you, you put me in a ring and nobody knows I don't even know what I'm capable of, but I know that I am a titan. I am a problem. I am a threat to anyone that is in the ring, because you have two hands, I have two hands. The only thing that differentiates us is the level of our IQ and thinking process and how to set traps. I set 10 traps at the same time.
So the only way you could box the European title is if the challenger the champion came here, and you wouldn't be able to defend it if somebody won the purse bids in
another country.
Here's my thing as we finish off here.
I am in trouble.
And I meant Bakram Murtazaliev, obviously. Josh Kelly won the title off him. I think you should be giving a message to Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith tonight as well.
Well, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to better myself and my family. That right there is the very important message, because no one else gave it to me. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Matchroom. Thank you, Frank Smith. And I think that they will change my life. And now that I'm the champion of all the belts, they will take care of me, because I'm next the new face of Matchroom.
What they could do, however, if you can't travel to win the world title,
they can make me fight Josh Kelly.
They can make you fight Josh Kelly, or they can get Xander Zayas or Sebastian Fundora over here.
Mm-hmm. But what am I going to fight them for? They have no belts.
No, they have got the belts at the moment.
Oh yeah.
They come here with the belts.
They come here with the belts.
But in the meantime, we have got a message for Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, which is, we need you to look on one of our own here from our community who's given everything for his country, wanted to be in the Olympics. He needs his case looking at. It needs to go from the bottom of the pile to the top of the pile. We need some assistance to get a British hero into the position that he can travel the world and show what he has learnt under the British boxing system, shown his resilience, his abilities, his capabilities.
Get in there, Gareth. Go on, tell him.
And I have the opportunity.
Tell him, baby.
Well, but it's true. I mean, it needs to be heard.
No one says it the way you're saying it.
But it needs to be heard. This is a miscarriage of justice. This is an injustice. This is a young man who was child trafficked to this country.
14.
It's an open case. It's an obvious case. And I almost want to implore the universe to get your decision and get it soon.
I really do. And the thing is, right, I just want to take my family, my 2 sons and my partner on holiday. We've never been on holiday.
Take them to Vegas and win the world title there.
Oh, that could be a double vacation.
Until then, I think Skegness is very much like Vegas.
Yeah.
You deserve the whole cake, not half of it. You deserve the whole cake and get to eat it.
I like what you said there.
And get to eat it.
Yes, I really do. And I just think, look, the thing is, right, I can never be taken anywhere else because I don't have a country. I don't have a passport. I will inevitably get it. The only problem and the only dilemma and the only crucifixion that's crucifying my emotions is that I don't have time.
So 38 years old?
37.
37
but 38 in about 2 months.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if the world all of a sudden does open up for it because of a technicality, his career will stop right there.
Enjoy the documentary that I filmed with Joseph Brody and myself last week with Bilal. It'll be out next week. Like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. But more than anything, put comments on there and tell your local MP, tell people around you, tell everyone that this is a guy who is not getting what he deserves in life. And the effort he's put in, and having been with him and seen him at home and what he goes through, he's an Uber driver at night at the moment to make ends meet. In fact, when I was driving to his house at 7:30 in the morning, I saw him coming back.
Coming on a scooter. I was going to train my client.
Yeah, it's just
I have 4 jobs.
I know, it's unbelievable where you get it all from, and that translates itself when you get into the ring. Brother, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you very much,
inspire us. You inspire us. You're incredible.
Thank you very much.
Bilal Fawaz, everybody. You're listening to Fight Night or watching Fight Night on talkSPORT.
I really don't understand why a manager has to have previous experience in the environment that he's going into. You all appeal for the best in class. How did that work at Manchester United with Van Gaal, Mourinho and Rangnick, says Paul. Morning, guys.
Two of them won trophies.
Southgate could only handle the British players. Foreign players wouldn't have the same respect for him. They wouldn't be enticed to play for Manchester United. He wouldn't have the pulling power. He'll be a failure to be at Manchester United. Abby is a Manchester United fan in Glasgow. Matthew says, a great show again. For me, Southgate is the next Crystal Palace manager, potentially European football again next year, has potential to do similar to what Emery has done at Villa and take them into top 4 contention. Supportive chairman and his former club, says Matt in Glasgow.
That's the level. That is the level. And that's not disrespectful. I think it'd be a good fit.
He's had a good old freak out.
Count to 10, Alex.
Yeah. He's a happy boy there. It's because you asked him.
No, I'm not happy boy because you didn't want to have the same debate we've had over and over again, and then you had the same debate we've had over and over again. I tried to.
You two did, and I told you not to do that, but you did it anyway.
What as well, on a serious note though, how much does Gareth Southgate want to manage?
Well, that's one of the key questions actually.
Then
because I've always had the impression that he doesn't want to go back into it unless it's a job that he cannot turn down.
Yes.
Because the pressure was so high on him. And I remember speaking to him after he'd resigned from England and he was over in the on a holiday, chilling out, and he was like, I've got absolutely no desire to come back. No desire. I just need the time off.
I can imagine it's a lot of pressure.
All that pressure. It's all the pressure, all the attention. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. Your whole life is completely ensconced in analysing players and thousands.
More green jackets have been lost at the 12th than at the Augusta City Dry Cleaners. Rory McIlroy knows this better than most. But what is Amen Corner and why is it so iconic? The famous sequence has always been there since the Masters began in 1934. It didn't get its name until '58 though, when American sports writer Herbert Warren Wind, on the left, wrote, "At the farthest reach of the Augusta National Course, down in the Amen Corner." He drew inspiration from the 1933 jazz song Shouting in That Amen Corner by the Dorsey Brothers. The reason behind its difficulty is all in the sand and the water. Tournament officials don't even bother to count the balls lost in there each year, such is the sheer number. The 11th, named White Dogwood, is a downhill 520-yard par 4 with a pond to the left of the green and a bunker to the right. Both cause a lot of trouble each year. The 12th, Golden Bell, is perhaps the most famous hole in the world, with danger everywhere. Many aim for the flag, but look, get it even slightly wrong, and you're in the azaleas at the back, or the bunkers at the front, or even worse, Rays Creek. Or you can play it safe and aim for the open green on the left. You chicken. Tiger Woods once said, if you make 4 bogeys from Thursday to Sunday, you're doing well. And the highest ever score on that hole? 13. It's a par 3. Tom Weiskopf in 1980 was the sorry soul. Often the iconic Ben Hogan Bridge is the only thing players enjoy about Golden Bell. Even if you escape there unscathed though, you met with Azalea, the dogleg par 5 13th. It tempts players to go for the green in 2, but cut over those trees on the left at your peril. Every year, it seems, Amen Corner destroys someone's dreams. Rory McIlroy dropped 3 shots through here as his round unravelled in 2011. In 2016, a year after navigating Amen Corner expertly, Jordan Spieth shot a quadruple bogey on the 12th to throw away his green jacket. I mean, it sounds like my game, to be honest. So who'll be the next to be brought to their knees, praying for mercy after Amen Corner?
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davies. Johnny Nelson's in the studio with me until midnight, and we're joined now by an unusual guest. Conor Benn, is he a traitor or is he a faithful? Yes, it's Faraz Noor from Traitors. Good evening, how are you doing?
I'm all good, Gareth, how are you?
I'm very well indeed, thank you very much. You jumped in. I was disturbing Amelia Bertrao reading the news then you were coming in excited to be in the studio. We're going to make some comparisons. You're going to sit with us tonight and go over 4 subjects. So you're a huge boxing fan. Go over 4 of our sections with us, but tell us about what it's like being a traitor in that brilliant hit series that you made the final in.
The faithful, first of all, innit, Gareth? Faithful, are we? You get it right.
My analogy is because of Conor Benn. Was he a faithful or was he a traitor?
Yeah, I think...
Would it in the house? Would he have been a traitor or a faithful?
I think that's self-explanatory there, innit? I think he'd have been a good one, wouldn't he? He'd have been a good one. Eddie Earns sticking his head up on the line for him for 2, 3, 4 years, all that money, and he's taken it all himself, and he so what can you say?
Is that because I remember asking you when you came to our show recently? You were a faithful, weren't you?
Yeah.
Is it hard to find out if someone's a traitor deep down or not? Is it easy to be wrong?
It's so much harder in there than when you're watching it at home, because obviously you know who the traitors are. Everything they do is amplified, whereas when you're in there, everyone's on a level playing field. Either everything's amplified or nothing's amplified, so you've got so little to go off. So it is really hard. Like, someone might pour the coffee the wrong way, and
so you've absolutely no idea.
No, literally no idea whatsoever.
So I wonder whether you leave that show questioning people around you, people who might be a faithful to you in life, but deep down maybe a traitor.
To be fair, that's a good shout, and I think obviously Rachel, who won, who was a traitor, I think her hubby might be having like second questions because she was lying just for the sake of lying at times.
Rachel and hubby, I hope you're all right if you're watching this right now.
She lied.
So tell us first of all. I mean, let's just do a little bit on you before we get into our topics tonight. I met you recently at show. Which show was it?
Nick Ball's.
It was Nick Ball's show in Liverpool, in the Republic of Liverpool, for the boxing a couple of weeks ago. And you told me then, I think you had 6 amateur fights.
Yeah, just the 6, yeah.
But you've always loved boxing.
Yeah. And to be honest, I wish I got into it when I was younger. I think it's sort of just taking that leap in it and getting stuck in. Because it was when I first went to uni. And I thought, I'll try it out because I always loved boxing. And obviously I got stuck into it, and then I joined a club because I went to uni in Newcastle, so I joined a club in Newcastle.
It doesn't show.
Yeah. 22.
He's still a baby, man.
I know, yeah, but you know what, Johnny? I don't even think I'm cut out for it, to be honest. The assault bike's done me in. I was on the assault bike too much, and I thought, you know what? I've got no aspirations of turning over or anything. I'm just glad I had the experience and got a few fights on.
Because it made me think, when you looking up your age, who might have inspired you as a fighter? But it's probably someone very modern.
Yeah. So obviously AK was a big one. Amir Khan was a big one. Obviously being British Pakistani himself.
But you'd have been a baby when he was coming
but
through.
then to be fair, it was AJ. I think AJ properly revived British boxing, didn't he?
Because you were like 8, 9 years old, and when the Olympics was on.
That's old school to him.
Because I remember the first like proper big knockout scene was Froch Groves 2.
Yeah.
Obviously at Wembley, 80,000, like he likes to mention.
10 years old you'd have been or something.
Yeah, so that was a big one because I used to talking about it in school, and then you had the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, which was talked about in school, but that was a bit too early for me to watch that one. So I left that. But it was AJ really who properly brought me into boxing, and I think I'm just so glad he did.
Right, you two. Let's get into Conor Benn. Was Conor Benn a big week for boxing? I don't know if you've been listening to this show so far, but Johnny and I talked about the scenario with Rico Verhoeven and Alexander Usyk. Should Rico Verhoeven really be fighting for the WBC heavyweight? Or you smirk. You don't think he should, clearly.
Well, it's obviously just a money grab in it, but fair play to Usyk. Usyk's beat everyone and beat him twice, but there is people there, like, I think Caballel's been really hard done by. Really, really hard done by.
Ajit Caballel, the German fighter, of course, who's in Germany, and he's interim WBC, isn't he? He doesn't get the shot at the moment.
Yeah, I think, and I'm a big fan of Caballel as well. I don't think he beats Usyk. To be honest, I don't think anyone beats Usyk. He's just that good.
Moses Itauma?
Even no, I think Usyk is that good. Saying that would obviously be an exciting fight to watch as well, but I think deservedly so, it probably should be Caballel. And then you could say Wardley as well, do you know what I mean? Because he is champ. But then again, Caballel's my main runner for me, but Usyk sort of got to that point where he can do what he wants, really, can't he?
I'm just trying to get the number because I want callers tonight as well for Faraz, because 03717 223344. We want calls tonight. There it is. It's up there on the screen. 03717 223344. Texts to 81089 or on X at talkSPORT, or you can call us. That's the same number again, 03717 223344. Because over the next hour, while we discuss these things, we'll have a few callers as well. We want to hear from Faraz, Johnny, and if I've got any fans as well, to talk about the things we're discussing. That's a really good point. We also discussed earlier, and I'd like to get your take on it, because you're very much a fan voice in here with us tonight, whether or not Turkey and Dana White will fall, Turkey Al-Sheikh and Dana White will fall out eventually.
Well, you know what? Dana is like sort of an explosive personality, and you never really know, because I think they both sort of are big personalities, so they might butt heads, but I feel as if they do have sort of a shared common goal. So I think that might just sort of keep them together, but you never know, especially with money as well. Money can break up anything, can't it? So it's an interesting one.
Traitor or faithful? Most people think he was a traitor, but was he ultimately a faithful? Because will he be coming back to Eddie Hearn at some point? Conor Benn, people had lots of views on him this week. Just take a little listen and look at this.
Conor suggested it's best to go through lawyers. And after 10 years of what we've gone through with him, I think in my 50-odd years of promoting sport, this is the most horrible, outrageous. I can't describe the feeling of when you've been let down. I suppose it's a bit like, you know, you've been married for 10 years and your wife walks out and you think, why? You know, no one discussed it. No one. It just, I didn't think he was that type of boy. I mean, look, maybe we got it wrong with Conor. You know, maybe we took his side and we believed everything he said, and maybe we were wrong. I hope not.
Yeah, look, we're all different. We've been through a lot with Conor over the years. We've stood by him in tough times. You know, my mindset is very much, it is what it is, and we have to move on. You know, we have a huge business. We deliver 40 events a year around the world. We've got a sold-out show this weekend in Phoenix. And if you spend too much time, you know, focusing on that, you're not going to focus on the positive. It's a shame, you know, but we are where we are.
Oh, then I'm going to have 7 days. Well, here we are. So, opinions there. There we are. Opinions on Conor Benn. What was your take on it when you first heard about it last week, for us?
To be fair, so first thing first, I don't begrudge Conor Benn for actually taking the money and moving over, because, as you said, 15 mil, especially if he knew it was to fight Prograis as well, who's shot to bits, really. He should be winning that fight.
Regis is on the show later, by the way.
Oh, get him on, get him on.
So down on the door.
Yeah, so I think he should be winning that fight. And obviously it's a lot of money, and you do have to think about your family. Family always comes first, so I don't begrudge him for that. What I think is really bad is especially the relationship they had. Eddie Hearn put his neck out on the line for him for so many years, and for you to not even give
the clomiphene drugs case, particularly,
for you to not even give the man a phone call, for you to get the lawyer to send an email, I think that's a joke. Like, that's a bit of a disgrace, to be honest.
So it's the way he handled it.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think, listening to a couple of interviews that Eddie's had, I think he even though he said, you know, he sent him a text and he didn't reply to him, they did have kind of a touch on him, a conversation. So he was sort of aware of it before it actually all came out.
A couple of days before.
Yeah, okay, all right. But so he was aware. So when he was telling us, I texted him and he said, I think we should talk through laws. I think they'd already spoken before that point. He just got to the same point. I understand why Conor didn't speak to him, because Eddie's a very charming guy. And so Eddie's thinking, you know, I feel bad enough as it is, so I really don't want to have the conversation.
I don't agree with that. If your mind's made up, your mind's made up. Have the conversation.
No, but look, yeah, I understand.
Be decent.
Where
would you have done that to Brendan Ingle? Would you have done that to Brendan Ingle?
I'll tell you how I'd have done it with Brendan. And Brendan, you told us back in the day, he says, listen, don't let everybody have one over you. Sometimes you go to a fight, a promoter or a manager say to you, look, I'm going to give you 10 grand for this kid. He said, give him 5, keep 5 for yourself, you know, but thanks for getting him in with my fighter. Brendan would come back to us and say, listen, I've been given 10 bags. I've been told you're getting 5. I've been told you to tell you're getting 5, but you're getting 10. But don't let him know I've told you. So that means nobody had something over you. What Conor,
he was working for you.
What Conor could have done, he said to Eddie, listen, I know you can't match this. So I'll tell you what, let's just play this together. Let's carve this up together. If it's a one-fight deal or whatever the deal is, whatever the paper is, I'm going to give you a cut. we'll just have it on the down, all that. We've split up, and then after this one fight, we'll see what the situation is. He could have carved it up between them, shared the love, because Eddie's been so good to him on paper, even though if he benefits or not. That's how he could have dealt with it. That's what I'd have done with Brendan. That's what I'd have done. I do understand him doing it. I was out with Colton Palmer one night when he left Sheffield Wednesday to play with Leeds United, and the room was going around, and he was getting so much hammer from the fans, and we were out in a club, and one guy came up to him, giving him a mouthful, and he said, "Listen, where do you work?" He said, "Flesh's Bakery." And he said, "What's the bakery across the road from me?" He said, "Sunbless." So if Sunbless came to you and offered you twice as much money to work there, would you go? He said, yes. But that's a different...
That's not the argument.
But if the baker you're working for had paid for your child to have their brain cancer surgery...
Yeah.
And got you out of a hole, and you've been in an emotional...
It's just how Conor did it. How he did it. How he did it. So unfortunately, because of the public...
got to say
that. So
that.
because the public has been on this roller coaster ride of Conor's career, he's getting absolutely vilified. It's just how he went about. He's a boy. We're men. Me and you will have a man-to-man conversation. Conor wouldn't, because he's a young. He's a young.
I know
he's a boy.
That is not an excuse.
He's a father. He's going around. I think you're giving him too many excuses.
I'm not giving him an excuse.
And I get on with him.
I'm not giving an excuse. I'm trying to look at it from. I love fighters earning money. I love it's in our game. Because I see too many promoters that are living large after some of the fighters that have worked for them and fought for them, haven't got two pennies to rub together. So I love the fact that Conor's made money, but it's just how he's gone about it.
All right, you two. I love and respect you both. Let's hold it there. We'll be back in a minute.
England striker Ivan Toney joined Drive Today show and was asked whether he wants to see Arsenal win the title.
Arsenal fans hate me as it is, so I can't say too much. But now, I do want them to win. I think it's boring City winning all the time. It would be nice for us, another team to win. Also, a couple friends at Arsenal also. So I think, it'll be special for them. Obviously being so close for so long, and hopefully they can finally get over the line. But I think they know City have been there, done it. So City have that little advantage, but I feel like Arsenal maybe can do it this time.
Yuck. That's what I'm going to say. Do not me like that. I don't want Arsenal win the title, mate. All right? I've said all season they will, and I fear I'm going to be proven right. All right, I don't want to win the title.
Right. I thought the massive London derby was Spurs-Tottenham. Spurs-Arsenal.
Yeah, right? They're North London derby, yeah.
So who's Chelsea's biggest rivals? Spurs?
In London, Spurs. I mean, they say Fulham and QPR and Brentford. They're not. No.
So why do you hate Arsenal then?
No, I don't hate Arsenal. I just don't want Arsenal to win the title.
Why?
Because they're London. I don't want anyone in London doing well. Someone's got to win the Premier League title. Give it to Man City. That's all I've got to say. Give it to City.
Well...
I'm not giving it to City.
What's your reasons for that? Just because they're not
because
from
Arsenal
London?
fans are unbearable. They're unbearable. They haven't won the title in 22 years. They're still unbearable, all of them. Honestly, the entitlement from them. Their Premier League record the last 22 years, they've not been involved in it, right? Okay, they've had a couple of skirmishes with City. Their European status is absolutely disgustingly bad.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth A. Davis.
We've just nearly had a wrestle, haven't we?
Oh, we've nearly had a wrestle, but we're going to get back to that in a minute. Johnny Nelson, the former WBO cruiserweight champion, he used to be a big fighter, but doesn't seem to be strong enough to wrestle me tonight.
Emphasis on used to there, Gareth.
Yeah, not us two, yeah. And Faraz Noor, formerly a faithful, is he now a traitor? With us in the studio tonight. He'll always be a faithful with that beautiful, charming, handsome face. Former in here on the Conor Benn saga from last week. Johnny Nelson, the one and only Johnny Nelson, giving Conor Benn an easy time, not over the fact that he's about to earn 15 million on the undercard of Tyson Fury and Arsenal Makhmudov at Spurs on April the 11th for fighting Regis Prograis, but giving him an easy out, which we were wrestling about. No, an easy out on the way he's treated Eddie Hearn.
But I have addressed he's gone about it the wrong way.
Is that all you've got to say? Just he's gone about it the wrong way.
He's gone about it the wrong way.
He's gone about
very political here, isn't he, Johnny?
It's very mortifying what he's done, Mr. Nelson.
Listen, I rate Eddie. I think Eddie's the best promoter in the world.
Better than Dana White?
Better, and those two reporters. No, Eddie's the Don, man. Trust me, Eddie's the Don. And so what's happened to Eddie?
Why is he the Don? Why is he the Don?
It's because Eddie he's probably the most famous promoter in the world. He's more famous than his fighters.
He's certainly human.
He talks the talk and walks the walk. The thing is, what Conor has done is he's burnt the bridge for any other fighter that Eddie will possibly fall in love with again down the line. Because Eddie will make sure he's never in that position again where he's left his back end up.
Where he's allowed...
it'll make him a lot more ruthless.
Where he's left the last fight to be... equal bidding. He will never do that again.
He'll never do that again. I can remember Frank was like that with Naz, and that Frank Lenny's.
Who promoted you through your career?
It was Frank. First, in fact, actually, initially it was Barry Hearn,
right,
and then it was Frank Warren,
right.
And so you understand this.
When did you switch?
I switched to Frank probably in when just before Memorial title,
and then you stayed with Frank to the end.
Stayed with
Why
Frank
did you switch?
Because you know what, Barry gave me a great opportunity. I was a boy in a man's body when I first boxed for the WBC title and drew for it.
Now you're a man in a boy's body.
I am now. Yeah. But I'll always try and argue on the side of the fighter because I get it. Our sport is so hard, and I know so many fighters that lean on the way thinking I don't want to leave this promoter. I don't want to do X, Y, Z because he's been right with me, but I could earn a shed load over here. What Conor's done is been very hard, and I'm telling you. He's human, and he must feel wronging. But Eddie's a brilliant salesman. He does a great job, and look, he put Conor in that position to be in a position where he can get 15 mil. 15 mil. That's because of Eddie.
All right.
So why would Conor want to embarrass him? We're grown-ass men, so we can have those conversations. That's an uncomfortable conversation.
All right, look. Let me bring Faraz into this. 22 years old. You very much represent what the young modern fan would think of this. Conor hasn't even won a title yet.
Yeah.
How are the fans responding out there that he's getting 15 million for fighting Regis Prograis announced yesterday?
I think that's so. What I agree with what Johnny said there. It's fine to take the money and it's fine to make that move because that is. Well, not obviously it's life-changing money for when you're looking at it. It's a huge amount of money, and especially to fight Prograis, which you probably should be winning. You're not going to say no to that, but it's the way he's went about it.
I like welterweight, but at the end of the day,
it's the way he's went about it. I think it's quite disrespectful, to be honest. It's a bit of a slap in the face to Eddie, I feel.
Johnny, I want to ask you both on this. I don't disagree with Conor earning that amount of money, but was he sugar-coated last year? Was he drawn around? Does this spell to that same argument we were talking about earlier where Turki Al-Sheikh has come into the sport and he comes showering gifts? He underwrote the fights last year with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. So was the path already laid in some ways? That even though as Zuffa have pointed out, as TKO Holdings have pointed out, it's seller that are paying him here.
He's making hay while the sun shines. And
we get that.
The other thing is this. Has anybody spoken to Conor? You've heard what Eddie said, how it went. Speak to Conor.
No, my point is Turki Al-Sheikh buying favours with everyone. And is that why he's gone? Because Eddie couldn't offer him what Turki Al-Sheikh and what Zufar
At the end of the day, it's for a statement, isn't it? It's a statement from Zufar and Seller to say, we're here, we're going to take over.
And also, we're sticking it on the undercard.
Yeah.
Frank Warren is Tyson Fury's promoter, but not the promotion running the event. If we want to do this and we want to come to the UK and we want to do Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, we can underwrite it all and have Tyson Fury on Netflix.
I suppose it's like a Robert walking in your house.
We'll pay him.
Walking in your house.
I think it's a controlled statement.
Yeah, it is, because I think I'm going to ask you this question. I know my answer. Do you think Conor Benn beats the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, if he moves to 150, Theo Lopez, if he goes to 154, Josh Kelly.
I'll answer first. He's not proved he's at that level yet. And you know what? The thinking is this. Conor's thinking, I'm getting 15 mil. If I'm at that level, I'll stay at that level. If I'm not at that level, I'll get 15 mil for being at this level here. I don't know. I don't think he is. But, you know what? We don't know how good he is yet. So, therefore, we'll have to be... He's now in a position where he's either going to get his arse given to him or he's going to give it back to him. But now, we've got to find out. He's in a position for it to happen.
He beats Regis Prograis.
Yep.
Then I think they put him in with Ryan Garcia. And I think that is a big fight, either in the UK in a big stadium.
Do you think he wins?
It's a big fight. It's a big fight, either in America at Madison Square Garden or Los Angeles or Las Vegas. Because Conor Benn, for me, last year in that second fight with Chris Eubank, crossed over as a mainstream star. Outside the heavyweights, the biggest star we've got here in the UK.
Does he win?
He crossed over to America in a great way. Theo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero all beat Conor Benn in my book.
Okay.
Because he hasn't proven he's that level yet. He might win one of those five.
I agree with that.
I think he beats them. They all beat him by quite a way as well.
I think he goes out and he delivers that kind of rumbustious effort, all the noise and the heavyweight take up in the press conference. But what he doesn't do is have the level.
Do you believe that? So again, don't get me twisted. I'm not saying he beats them. I'm saying, do you think this is the finished version of Conor Benn, or do you think
potentially not? But it plays into this act of taking that money for doing it, because he's realistic to know behind the scenes what level he is. He knows what level he is. He's not yet world title level. But look how Ryan Garcia handled Mario Barrios the other night.
Yeah, that was.
Look how Ryan Garcia handled Devin Haney. By the way, I know he was 3 pounds overweight. And I know that he tested positive for a banned substance afterwards, but he hasn't proven he's at that level, even though optically he did against Chris Eubank in the second.
That's what I'm saying. It's not fair to say, no, he's got no chance. We don't know. On what we've seen, no, he doesn't beat them. But you know what? We don't know where the growth is. We don't know how good he actually is. Can he step up? Can he make a difference?
To be fair, I think Conor Benn is the type of person to feel like he will be able to beat them. Do you know what I mean? I think he's got quite a strong mindset, and
a very strong mindset.
And I feel like he does
tremendous.
I feel like he does back himself, because I was going to ask you, obviously being in that position, did you ever feel like you wouldn't be able to beat someone?
No, he used to stink the place out because you couldn't land a punch on him.
Just ignore him, young man. Just ignore him, young man. I'd beat everybody. So once I was champion, I believed I would never get beaten.
He was untouchable.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody could beat me once I was champion. But you've got to go into that, where you've got to go into those shoes. And so I think Conor, does he believe he's that fighter yet? I don't know. I really don't know. I think he's honest with himself, and this is the gamble to say, well, if I deserve to be there, I'll stay there.
It's very, honestly, I covered Johnny's career. The size of the man at cruiserweight at the time, his skill set, no one could lay a glove on him. And we did complain every now and again he'd stink the place out, but he was brilliant.
You talk about the size of him. I seen a great story. You talking about when the Mike Tyson fight was almost on the cards?
Did you see that one? I'd have beat him. I'd have kicked his ass.
More from Faraz and Johnny coming up. We're going to talk Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois. Come back with us after this.
That's a fantastic draw for Arsenal, really, to be in that part of the draw as well. Because not only have they got Leverkusen, they then play the winners of Sporting and Bodo Glimt. So they've got a great run. In fact, it could be that you could get a North London derby in the semi-finals of the competition if everything goes to plan. But their potential opponents in the quarterfinals, should they beat Leverkusen, Arsenal, would end up being Bodo Glimt or Sporting. And then they would face the winners of the quarterfinal, which is between Newcastle, Barcelona or Atletico Madrid against Tottenham. So the draw in full then, Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea, Galatasaray against Liverpool. The winners of those two ties will play each other in the quarterfinals of the competition. Real Madrid will take on Manchester City, and Atalanta will play Bayern Munich. The winners of those two ties will meet in the quarterfinals. So we could have a Manchester City Bayern Munich reunification with Vincent Kompany in the quarterfinals of the competition, or we could have Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, some of the most prolific champions in Champions League history, meeting at the quarterfinal stage. Newcastle and Barcelona is the next fixture that came out of the hat. They will face the winners of Atletico Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur in the quarterfinals, and then Bodo Glimt Sporting and Leverkusen Arsenal completes the draw. Well, certainly Arsenal have come out more favourably than anybody else.
Incredible. That's incredible. I mean, they've got to at least get to the semi-finals for me, if not the final itself. It couldn't have gone any better from a Gunners perspective.
I'm Gareth Davies. Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. We're here until midnight. Up next with me in the studio, Johnny Nelson and Faraz Noor. I wanted to get that absolutely correct. Thank you, sir. But we are going to discuss next Daniel Dubois against Fabio Wardley, or maybe I should say it the other way around, given Wardley's the defending champion. Have a little look at this from earlier in the week.
A guy that has taken on all challenges. He's beating everyone he's faced so far, so I respect that. But I've got to take his O, and again, like I've done before, I've got to take his O and take that belt with me. Yeah, this is exciting for me. This fight is just full of excitement. You know, fighting in England against a British fighter, it's going to be like a local derby, proper old school scrap, and I'm loving it.
A good overall boxer with very good base fundamentals. Like, again, the obvious things you can look at him: good jab, heavy puncher, game, to be honest, gets stuck in, doesn't mind letting his hands go, isn't particularly shy in that instance. But there are also a number of flaws in there as well, which I'm paying attention to, which I very much think I can exploit as well.
Fabio Wardley there, the current world champion, WBO, I believe. I think it's WBO at the moment. My mind is not serving me correctly at the moment. Daniel Dubois, obviously former world champion, beaten twice by Alexander Usyk and by Joe Joyce. Fabio Wardley showing weaknesses but incredible resilience and ability, world-class punch power, knockout power against Justice Hooney and against Joseph Parker and against Fraser Clark. This, for me, is a fantastic fight between two young British studs in their prime. Johnny Nelson, do you agree?
Without a doubt. I think it's a brilliant fight. When I started, I thought, oof. Now, you know, these guys, you know, when you're in the presence of Daniel Dubois, you know, there's no fakery. This guy believes in himself. He's not sucking in by anything. And he's very... He's straight on. I think Fabio's a great talker. He's very intellectual. He's sharp. He's on the ball. He understands when they sparred together before. Daniel had too much on him. He was only 3 years into the sport, so he understands the dangers of Daniel Dubois. He knows what's there. I think this is a fight Daniel Dubois could win. I don't think Fabio's staying power. I don't think Fabio's that one punch, that concussive style that he's got will actually do Daniel. I think this is the fight that Daniel could win, and he could end up being a two-time heavyweight champion.
Mr. Noor, how do you see it?
I agree. I think it's a pick'em. I think it's an absolute pick'em. What I've seen online is a lot of Wardley's going to do him, Wardley's going to clean him, and I really don't see that at all. I feel as if they both obviously carry ridiculous power. I feel as if Wardley's probably a bit more elusive than Dubois is, but I think that they both will get caught, and it's going to be an absolute cracker of a fight. I can't wait.
I've got a feeling that we might be surprised by this fight, that Daniel has quite a lot of boxing skills if he wants to use them. He's got a very fine jab if he wants to use it.
He's got a ramrodding jab.
I mean, when you think about how he dismantled Nathan Gorman, he did it with his jab for 5 rounds and he pummeled him with the right hand and finished him. I think where I think Fabio Wardley has some distinct advantages is that he is clearly very mentally strong. And if you listen to Michael Ofo this week, he's been talking, his manager, he's been talking about Fabio mentally breaking Daniel Dubois, but I don't think Fabio is the kind of boxer that is putting pressure on you, walking you down like a Fury would be with him, like Alexander Usyk did twice, like Joe Joyce did with his jab that night in lockdown. That was Joe's best performance in my view, when he just jabbed Daniel's eye off. The thing is with Daniel, he's proven that he can go through it against that slightly lower elite level tier. The Philip Hrgovićes of this world. He took a pummeling early in that fight. Jarrell Miller stopped him for the first time.
AJ got wobbled before.
Exactly. So I think we might be surprised to see. Look, Justice Hooney was 9 rounds up against Fabio Wardley. Joseph Parker was clearly 3 or 4 rounds up against Fabio. Wasn't at his best. I favour, and I've picked against Fabio a few times and been wrong. In my head, I see Daniel Dubois as very dangerous in the early rounds of the fight, first 5 or 6. If Fabio catches up with him, I could see him winning.
I think Daniel walks into this supremely confident because he knows what he's capable of doing. He knows. He doesn't think he knows. So that makes a big difference to Daniel. So if Daniel thinks he really believes he can beat you, he's a very hard man to stop. There's one guy that was like that back in the day called Herbie Hyde. If he thought he could beat you, no matter what you did, this guy would do you. If he didn't, he'd crumble. He'd fall to the wayside when he watched Klitschko.
Hence the Klitschko fight.
And Daniel, I think Daniel truly believes I've got your number, and that mental strength that Fabio's got is the only thing I give him on top of Daniel over anything. That mental strength, and that will be his lifesaver. That'll be his.
I feel an extra thing is I feel as if when Fabio's hurt, he's a lot more dangerous as well. So I feel as if that's probably another thing that Daniel Dubois might have to sort of be weary of if he does, and he probably inevitably when he does hurt him, they're both gonna hurt each other. That he just needs to be careful and be defensively responsible as well, because we have seen obviously him take a pepper in from Hrgović at the start, and I feel as if you can't really take them same shots from Fabio.
I don't see Fabio outboxing him early though. I don't see it.
I don't either.
Because they'll meet in the middle.
Yeah.
They will meet in the middle. And weirdly, and I think this is a point for discussion as well, as we heard Daniel Dubois say there in the tape, it's a local derby, but they've taken it to Manchester, which I find odd.
What's wrong with Manchester?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. You're from Sheffield. What are you worrying about?
It's not London, that's why.
And that's Lancashire, not Yorkshire, anyway. No, what I'm saying is I really enjoyed, even though it was a torrential rainstorm that night, I really enjoyed the Portman Road night with Justice Hooney and Fabio Wardley. I don't know. They're both nearer London as characters. I'm surprised it wasn't at London.
You know, they're spending a lot. But I do think Fabio's got more variety than Daniel
in terms of armory.
In terms of, I think he's got more variety in terms of shots, in terms of movement. In terms of game plan,
and maybe a better chin. Maybe a better chin.
I don't know because. Yeah, he has got an amazing chin.
Seen him go down?
Yeah. No, he has got an amazing chin, but he's in there with somebody that is an underrated puncher, a massive underrated puncher that's got long arms, that believes he can do it. Doesn't think he can do it, he believes he can do it.
I think him going back with Don Charles as well will be a good thing for Daniel, because I think
peculiar scenario that though, isn't it?
I know, but I feel as if it is quite good, because I feel as if Don Charles sort of instilled that mental willpower into him in the first place.
I went up to the farm when he was fighting Anthony Joshua, and they used to look down at the arches of Wembley from there, because you can see it from up there in North London, up on the hill on the farm. And I remember Don telling me, and I'd had a fallout with Don in the studios here, where he came and hammered me for a while, and the way they prepared that whole gym for Daniel, it was built for Daniel. I was really pleased to learn he was going back there. I think Don is a very powerful force in Daniel's
I
mind.
rate Don Charles massively. I rate him massively. I think Don Charles is so underrated. And I think when I heard about Daniel walking away from him, I thought, bad move. And if I'm honest with you, I don't think, and Daniel will try and fall on his sword and say it was my decision. I don't believe that was the case, and I think they realised where the bread was buttered. And Don, he loves his fighters, and you could say, why is he taking them back? He's getting paid. He's getting paid handsomely, and it would have hurt his heart him walking away. So he's think this is business. So, but he'll still do an amazing job with Daniel, and people have got to give him respect and props.
While we're on it, guys, we've mentioned every heavyweight in the entire top 10, top 12. We haven't spoken about AJ. Let's just speak about AJ for a minute, because the creeping news since that horrific incident late last year for Anthony and his two beloved friends that passed away in the traffic accident in Nigeria, there's small hints that Anthony's on the road to coming back, aren't there? So,
when a fighter's been out and for whatever reason, whatever's gone through their personal life, and they think boxing is a place, getting back in the gym, it's the place you feel at home, you feel settled, you feel at peace. But what happens is when you're in there, you'll find out how much you really want it. When you're training really hard and you're arguing with yourself, don't want this, don't want this. Something's changed.
That love-hate thing.
That thing.
Addiction
and so it's a case of if the love's gonna come back like it did before, because none of us would ever be able to put ourselves in AJ's shoes, and so I understand. I think I understand how hard it's going to be for him to get his head around it again. So we won't know. I think Eddie said he's going to be back in camp in July time.
Just hinted this week.
Just hinted. Now, it's a conversation. It's it's small steps. So don't put your hands on to say he's back in the mix. Let's see if he still loves it. Still loves it enough to say, yeah, I'm back in the Lions Den. So I'm just happy he's finding some peace somewhere to get in the gym and do something.
You mentioned how Anthony Joshua inspired you as a 10-year-old, whatever you were, about 10, maybe even 9, 8 at the time, at the Olympic Games, winning the super heavyweight gold. Your generation has seen the entire career of Anthony Joshua as you've grown up from children to young men, young women. Is he someone we want to see in the ring with Tyson Fury before they depart the boxing scene?
100%. I think that fight is obviously a massive fight. But to be honest, with what he's gone through, I think I'm in the mind of whatever decision he makes, whether he wants to come back or not, is the right decision, and sort of back him all the way. And whatever's perfect for him and right for him is fine. But obviously, as a fan, you'd love to see it, because I think a world with AJ in boxing is just a better boxing world, because he is so exciting to watch. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and every fight he is in is an exciting fight.
And there is no doubt in my mind, gentlemen, a yes or no on this before we go to break and have Paulie Malignaggi joining us next, the former world champion who's now a colleague of mine in the BKB bare knuckle world. Fury versus AJ, Netflix or not?
Oh, Netflix written all over it. It's written all
100%.
over it. Tracksuit, pajamas, cups.
Get the chill ready. Get the chill ready.
Netflix and chill, baby.
Get the chill ready. We'll be back with you shortly with Paulie Malignaggi.
So when an old friend I know drops by to say hello, will I still see suspicion in your eyes? Absolutely. There we go again, Ray. Here we go.
Come on now.
You're asking where I've been.
Whoa.
You can't see the tears are real. I'm crying. Sing it, Ray.
We can go on together with suspicious minds.
Build our dreams on suspicious minds. That's beautiful.
Right, people can put the radio back on.
I just want to hear the bit in the ghetto from the man himself, Elvis. This is a classic.
There's a snow flies on a cold and grey Chicago morning. A poor little baby child is born in the ghetto.
I thought it was for a minute. Fawaz, Johnny and Gareth sing. We were singing for our supper tonight. We are still an hour and 15 minutes left in the show tonight. It's been a great show so far. We have talked about all the seismic tectonic plate shifting this week and in general in the world of boxing, promotional wars, traitors, Conor Benn and Eddie Hearn. But we are joined now on the line, I believe, by the one and only Paulie Malignaggi, who joins us, I imagine, from the East Coast. Oh, no, he might even be in Florida, I think. Good evening, Paulie. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you? How you guys doing?
We're good, thank you. I'm just going to start very quickly with you and I were working. Your face is looking a bit better than the last time I saw you because you're still nursing those wounds surgically from the fight with Tyler Goodjohn. I was with you last week. We were working together on BKB Bare Knuckle in London. What a night. A couple of questions on that, first of all. The guy you're fighting for the world title against, Rolando D. I walked with you both and interviewed you at Tower Bridge. You seem to make some friends with him during the week. And also, what a performance by Marco Martignac against Ike Villanueva in the main event for him to retain his world title.
Yeah. So a few points here, Gareth. All points to address. Number one, I'm not nursing them to already be healed. I'm nursing them because of the NHS's ineptitude in giving me simple stitches and the fact that they've been infected several times since I got those stitches, and that's why I'm still in that healing process. Had a normal person like my dog even been stitched me up, I'd probably have healed better. That's for starters. Number two, but nonetheless, I'll be ready for the fight in May. Number two, with D, a lot of respect between us. He's a veteran of the fight game. He's obviously comes from the world of MMA, and he's had a lot of fights himself. So, we've done this several times. We've had this kind of go around several times in our careers with different opposition and different levels of opponents. We both know the importance and the magnitude of this fight and what it means to both of us, both in terms of legacy and career. So despite the respect, I do believe both of us will be ready 100%. And on fight night, I think people will get a good fight, just like they had in my last fight where I won fight of the night with Tyler Goodjohn. I think D himself is a formidable foe. He's a champion for a reason. And I look forward to locking horns with him. And, I plan to come out on top as the BKB world champion.
That's the next big event in the UK, of course, May the 16th in Manchester when Paulie takes on Rolando D. We cannot wait for that, Paulie, and it always amazes me at your age and where you are in life, having been a world champion in boxing, that you put yourself through this. But you and I have spoken about this. You actually feel healthier as a human being for being back in training and fighting again.
Yeah, I feel great. I eat good. I train daily. I keep myself in shape. I watch myself. Certainly, I live better than I would if I was just a retired, lazy bloke, so to speak. I think I'd let myself go a little bit in retirement. I never really I'm a person that has vices, but nonetheless, I do, sort of stagnate if I don't have a goal to work for, a physical goal to work for. So the past year of training and then getting back into shape and preparing for fights has really been beneficial to me. As I said on talkSPORT when I was over in the UK, I don't spar anymore. So it's literally all beneficial. I just train, eat well. And so I think only on fight night, obviously, I have to deal with some damage. But tell you the truth, if I had capable people stitching me up, I don't think I would even be dealing with that many consequences. Stitches are a pretty simple thing in the medical world if you know what you're doing. So I think that the next time I'll probably bring my own plastic surgeon. So if the stitches have to be healed up, I'll be fine. And you know, the healing, that part of the healing process will also go smoothly because I don't think that it's a damage to my health the way I live today. I think it's better for my health the way I live today than if I'm in retirement and being lazy and sort of eating not so disciplined and sort of, you know, living not so disciplined in terms of the way I should be in shape.
I'll just say a final thing about BKB Bare Knuckle. I'll be working with Paulie, and it's live on talkSPORT on March the 28th from Connecticut, from the Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. There's 3 world title fights on the line. Looking forward to working with Paulie. Then, as I say, it's live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. But Paulie, you're one of the most erudite, one of the most intelligent talkers on boxing in the world that we've got, frankly. This week, as Johnny Nelson and Faraz Noor in the studio have been talking about with me, we saw some seismic moments, one of the biggest weeks in boxing for a very long time. We've got to get your views on it. First of all, Conor Benn splitting with Eddie Hearn with no notice, if you like, 15 million to fight Regis Prograis, the opponent notwithstanding. What was your take on how that came about? How did you read it?
At first I read it, I was a little bit shocked. You know, I was a little bit taken aback. Then I saw the amount of money and the duration of the deal, which is just one fight, and I thought, you know, it's not actually that bad. I mean, even he could probably, you know, rekindle things with Eddie. I think even Eddie would be happy for him if you made $15 million for one fight and then came back. It's not like you're losing him long term. There is a possibility for them to work together, and I think, even from a business point of view, yeah, Eddie loses out on that one fight, but nonetheless, I think if he could, you know, remain on good terms with Conor and then they work back together, I think there's a lot to be done there, because I feel Eddie's a big part of why Conor's become such a big deal, because this is the guy, let's face it, this is a guy who's a pretty good fighter. I'm not going to deny that he's a pretty good fighter, but he's also probably below the championship level and likely will never become a world champion in his career. So the fact that a guy who will never become a world champion can make this kind of money, I think is excellent for him. It's a good opportunity, and like I said, he is an entertainer. He's a solid fighter.
Good
now,
shout. Good
as
shout.
we look into it more deeply, now we see the opponent is Regis Prograis. Now you're bordering on the idiotic on the part of Zuffa for giving a guy this much money to fight a completely obliterated shot fighter. I mean, this is you saw Prograis fight, because I saw Prograis fight against Jojo Diaz, who is another way past his prime ex-world champion, and he looked completely shot in that fight, completely shot, and he was getting hurt from Jojo Diaz, who's not a big puncher himself, and whose best weight was probably 126 and 130. So you're giving him $15 million to fight this guy. Now it's probably bordering on the moronic on the part of Zuffa, but again, a great deal for Ben. And again, a situation where I think even Eddie could probably give Ben a round of applause, because I think they could just probably keep their good terms, and Ben could probably laugh his way to the bank and then leave Zuffa right after this. Because what is Ben really going to do with Zuffa? Though I don't think Ben wins a major world title, he can maybe win a Zuffa title, but I don't think that's great for his career. I think he's done great with Hearn. I think he's been promoted very well with Hearn, and I think his grade of popularity can only rise if he stays with Hearn.
Good shout, Paulie. Good shout. It's Johnny Nelson here. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Johnny. What's up, John?
I'm good, thank you. Just a quick one. What do you think of Usyk fight for the WBC title?
With Rico Verhoeven, obviously.
Yeah. You know what? Usyk's been a guy who's been a sort of a pioneer, exemplary champion, taking on the best opposition constantly. And so he's been a guy that I've had a lot of praise for. But unfortunately, if you're taking world titles into these kind of fights, you sort of start to stain yourself. You know, you it becomes sort of like a skid mark on your resume. You know what I'm saying? Like he was doing so well, avoiding that whole Canelo route where you're taking titles hostage and fighting low-level opposition, which I really was not a fan of when Canelo was doing it. But if you're going to be a champion, and you're going to do this kind of thing, you have a responsibility to defend against the best. That's what a champion does. And Usyk done that for such a long time. The only way I can even mildly forgive this, because it's really hard to forgive totally, is if this is his last fight anyway. So he'll just take out this kickboxer and then retire. But if he actually plans to continue to be active after this and take on top fighters, then what was the point of this, to waste time giving this guy a title shot? First of all, the WC should never sanction this fight to begin with, but that's another conversation in and of itself. But also, unless he's planning to retire after this, it's really difficult to defend this kind of thing. I don't understand how any of this can be sanctioned and how this can be for a title. You can do an exhibition, you can do whatever, but I think as a world champion, you have a responsibility to the sport to defend against the best fighters available, because the wheel has to keep turning.
Faraz, you've got a question for Paulie as well, haven't you?
Now then, Paulie, all right. I was just wanting to ask you, what do you think about Mayweather and Pacquiao running it back, number 2?
11 years on.
The first one was kind of a dud. I don't expect this one to be a total excitement factor type of night. But I think the curiosity about these two will always sell. The only thing I can tell you I will think is this. Okay, if they're going to continue to be active, I didn't think Pacquiao looked that good against Barrios. I think Barrios is just terrible. But I think if Mayweather has anything left, he probably beats Pacquiao. He's going to continue on this sort of tour. He probably, at 49 years old, I don't know how much you can take on the very elite of the sport at this point in your weight. So I think if I win the BKB title, a fight with me with gloves on, I put myself in a position to where I'm active and looking good and I'm a champion in bare knuckle. Come through this next fight, and Mayweather will continue to need opponents that he can sell with, but at the same time also, not go too young down the line where you're going so young and in the top 10 where it's getting very, very dangerous. Now, I'm not saying Mayweather can't compete with the top guy, but the welterweight division is getting really, really dangerous, and the junior middleweight division is really, really dangerous. So you don't have Mario Barrios left at the top level anymore, whom you might favor Mayweather to beat at this point. So I think it'd be dangerous. I think he'd need opponents that are closer to his age, or at least have some kind of notoriety where you can sell the fight, me as the next world champion and possibly a future BKB champion. My thoughts are, you know what? Give me the winner. That's my thoughts.
Ever the promoter as well as the man behind the mic, Paulie Malignaggi. It's great to see you as always. You're on great form. We cannot wait to see you fight Rolando or challenge Ronaldo D for the BKB Super Welterweight World Championship in Manchester on May the 16th. Stay well, sir. I will see you in Connecticut on March the 28th.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Always a pleasure. Cheers, mate. Paulie Malignaggi there. Well, we're going to talk, the three of us. We're going to talk Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2 next. 11 years on from the record-breaking $600 million fight in Las Vegas.
So, Stuttgart have got Porto, Nottingham Forest have got Midtjylland. The winners of those ties will meet in the quarterfinals. Bologna take on Roma, and Lille play Aston Villa. It means the quarterfinal could be Donyell Marlin against Aston Villa, Gabby.
That would sum us up. That Donyell Marlin would score the winner and knock Aston Villa out. And if that happened, right, I don't know what I'd do, Crookie. I think I'd walk to your house, Crookie, from here and knock on your door and blame you.
We're far up the hot tub, mate. You're always welcome.
But Aston Villa against Lille, they finished 18th in the Europa League group stage. Beat Red Star Belgrade in the playoffs.
They did well, actually, to come from behind. They lost their home leg 1-0 and then 1-2, 1 away.
You should be beating them.
They're 5th in the league as well, in Liga. So
Rome
We
was
should beat them.
the tough one.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Rome was the tough one, and it's on the same side as Forest. Is that right?
Well, yeah. So basically, what it means is that if they were to win against Midtjylland, which you might expect them to do, Nottingham Forest, they would find a quarter-final opponent, either Stuttgart or Porto. Tough draw, actually, that. And then further down the line, if they were to win that quarter-final, the semi-final would be potentially Aston Villa. That is possible.
Are you pleased you're on the other half of the draw to Genk?
Cookie, you're not funny. Where Manchester United, Alex? Because there'll be thousands of Villa fans listening to you.
They're
Cookie.
also on the other side of the draw to Freiburg.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, hello. Hello, you.
And Braga.
Guys, you do a lot of games at Villa Park. Be careful. Be careful now. Alex.
We like Aston Villa. We're
Get looked after, didn't you?
We're predicting them
Get
to
some good food in
go-
the press box.
You know what? I think the atmosphere at Aston Villa is one of the best when it's really.
Oh, I love it.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting, and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impact with the racket. The call of new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour Optic Yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth A. Davis. My two guests, Faraz Noor, who's joining us for a fifth section tonight.
Can't get rid of me, can
the
you?
lads. The lad.
I wonder if Paulie understood you when you was talking.
No, then Paulie, all right.
Paulie was in my ear and he's saying, "Where's that guy from?" I said, "He's from the beautiful part of the north of England." But we are prizing you out of that chair in 15 minutes' time. I'm going to get Johnny Nelson, the undefeated former WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the World.
Right.
Who's in the studio with me till midnight. No, he's saying I want 45 minutes of airtime because Faraz has been so charming, he's making me look silly.
Yeah. You got me.
You've been great guests tonight, both of you. Look, let's talk about... it's been a really fast show, to be honest. It always is. Our favourite 3 hours of the week on a Saturday night. 11 years, 2015, 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, $600 million it grossed the first fight between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Many of us feeling it was 5 years too late, and it should have happened in around 2011, really, something like that, when they were both at their peak and in their prime. But it was still a great night. Floyd Mayweather was dominant, as one could have predicted, really. I feel he'd be dominant the second time. But Netflix, again, Netflix is cropping up over and over again. Netflix officially announced on Monday afternoon, last Monday, that the legends will square off again in what is expected to be an official fight, not an exhibition. They're both still fairly active. They're both very fit. They were in their mid to late 30s then. They're in their mid to late 40s now. Gentlemen, discuss. I'm going to go to you, Mr. Noor, first. What do you feel about this?
You know what? It's if they want to put a show on, just let them put them show on. You know what I mean? Old blokes, and let them enjoy themselves. Yeah, you let them enjoy themselves. To be honest, it's probably not even one that I'm really going to watch. To be honest, I'll be honest with you. I think I don't know what way it's going to go. Obviously, Pacquiao taking Barrios to a draw, with a lot of people saying he probably should have won.
Very close.
It probably tells more about Barrios, and I think it does more so about Pacquiao, but it shows that he's still in good nick and he can still have a go. Mayweather's always just going to be Mayweather. I feel as if he always sort of looks after himself. So it will be quite interesting, to be fair, but I genuinely don't know what way it's going to go. But they're both going to make a lot of money, so fair play.
It's at the Sphere. It's on September the 19th. That's going to be the new experience. Johnny Nelson, do the skills of Mayweather pay the bills?
They always will. You know, I suppose it's like an old-time footballer. As long as you keep the ball at the feet, it'll show you all the skills when they've got to move around and show a bit of pace. That's when the questions will be asked. Fortunately, is against somebody that's not got the pace either. Let's not get lost in the curtains of nostalgia. These guys are old men in regards to our sport, so don't think it's going to be Mayweather all over again. It's going to be the old Mayweather and the old Pacquiao. That's what happened the last time 11 years ago. We thought they could still do it. So if that's how the fight turned out 11 years ago, what do you expect now? It's going to be a slower pace. I think the story will probably be exactly the same. And young men like you, will you be interested? Will it intrigue you? No, it won't. It'll be older folks like us that'll say, I'd like to see this out of curiosity more than anything else. Now Mayweather is fighting. He's doing an exhibition bout with Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
With Mike Tyson first. And he's saying this is him coming back as a career as a fighter when he gets in with Manny Pacquiao. I think that's a big mistake, and I think he's tripped up. If he's just going to have that fight, then do it, but do not come back as a career, because you're going to get turned over by a kid that doesn't know half the things you know.
Oh, you think Pacquiao wins?
Pardon?
You think Pacquiao wins, do you?
No, I think Mayweather wins. I think Mayweather.
What do you mean he'll get turned?
Like following on from
that fight. If he carries on fighting after that as a career.
Oh no, I don't think he will.
No, but he's saying he's boxing his career. So if this is he's making this a career, he's going to get turned over by some young pup that's got a higher pace than him.
Well, it's heralded, Johnny. It's heralded a sequence of stories since Mayweather has come back this year, and like you say, the two projected bouts with both Mike Tyson and now Manny Pacquiao on Netflix, is that he's short of money.
I don't know. Listen, you hear that's what I'm saying. It's too hard to believe that, and because everybody can't figure out. Because people can't figure out why he's doing it. So he must be skinned. Really? I just think he's got the bug, and he wants the adulation and the praise to say I'm still the man, and he's not still the man anymore.
Listen to this for us, okay? Right. I remember having a chat with Brendan Ingle, the late great Brendan Ingle, who transformed thousands of lives in Sheffield and transformed Johnny's, and actually got him into broadcasting as well as boxing, because he sent him along in Sheffield to the TV studios and radio studios to train him to be like this.
So we've got Brendan to blame then.
We've got Brendan, yeah, exactly. We've got Brendan to blame for. Now we can't stop him. Years ago, Brendan told me that Johnny, if he wanted to, could have carried on and been a world champion till he was 50. If you rewound 15 years and you were 45 now, and you'd retired already, I think you'd be coming back right now as well if there was lots of money on the table. And they'd said, Johnny, can you fight? Alexander Usyk wants to go back down to cruiserweight, and it's going to be on Netflix. And you were 45 years of age.
I nearly did it.
You wouldn't have been.
I nearly did against Marco Huck. He was
Well, there you
the
go.
WBO champion.
And how old were you going to be?
I was about 45. I mean, but I wasn't coming back for a career. I was coming back for that fight.
You were coming back for money.
No. I was. Money,
Come on, you were coming back for money. We've had this conversation.
Me, money's never been my god, and that's one thing I will always be on. Money. Listen,
what was it for? Legacy.
To me, I'm thinking.
Was it for the legacy of your bank account?
I thought I could do this, boy.
The legacy of your bank account.
No, trust me. If anybody knows me, they know I'm not about the dough. You know, money's not my god, and that's one thing that Brendan told me.
Hand on heart.
But this guy here, I thought, I could beat you, and again, just prove everybody else, they're thinking, how the hell's he done that? For Mayweather, I do not believe it's... Obviously, the money helps, but look at the pay packages he's had. Pacquiao, Conor McGregor, he's had ridiculous, life-changing money. I don't believe this guy's skin, but he's obviously not got the money he had, but I just think to him, he's got the bug. It's something he can't let go of.
Just one thing to say. You say it wasn't about the door, Johnny, but you were complaining about 5 minutes ago about an £11 burger.
I'm a tight-arse Yorkshireman. I'm a Yorkshireman. That's what we do. They're charging me for 11 quid for a burger down the road. Like...
Irony or hypocrisy? Which is it? Irony or hypocrisy?
Wow, you posh folk, man.
Posh folk.
You see, as far as I'm concerned, I'll pay for what I'm thinking.
You're acting like an existential threat now to boxers earning lots of money. I believe, like you do, and I'm sure our young colleague does, that you guys do the most dangerous job on earth. Yeah. It's inherently dangerous every time you do it. It's you're putting yourselves on the line for our entertainment. I never forget this. For me, it's always about fighters first. You know, that's why I don't begrudge Conor Benn what he's doing. That's why I don't begrudge. I think. I love
that.
You won't agree with me on this, but I've been to the Philippines. There's 110 million Filipinos. Do you know how much they love Manny Pacquiao? That Netflix will do Floyd Mayweather. There's 4 or 5 names alive in the world today that if you say to people, who are the 2 most famous boxers in the world, fighters in the world right now, you two will have different names to me. It's Conor McGregor and Mike Tyson. Those are the 2 most famous. Then after that, it's Tyson Fury and Floyd Mayweather. And after that, it's Manny Pacquiao and maybe a couple of others. But these 2 guys, for me, are 2 of the 5 most famous fighters on earth still, even though they're retired. So, I think it does 70 million views on Netflix. How many do you think it does?
So I think it does good numbers, but not that many. I don't think it does.
Does it make money for Netflix?
What about
does it make money for Netflix?
Yes, it does, of course. But what about when Mike Tyson came back to fight Jake Paul? Now, we know Mike Tyson, the guy...
110 million viewers.
But these youngsters...
I was there. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. But these youngsters are thinking Mike Tyson...
Did you refuse to
No, I watched it. I definitely watched it.
Did you watch
but what I'm saying is, there you go.
I knew he's an old man.
There you go. So this is how he looks at Mike Tyson. We're thinking, are you mad? That's Mike Tyson. So therefore, the youngsters, when he's saying I might not watch the Manny Pacquiao fight, we'll watch it. But these guys,
I will watch it professionally because that's what I do. But I'm not sure I would watch it if I was 22 years of age or 25 years of age. It doesn't have meaning.
So that's why it's not going to be as big a hit as he was the last time.
But that's why Conor Benn and Chris Eubank last year had meaning, because that had generational meaning. Yeah. Conor Benn is a young kind of Gen Z star, isn't he?
Yeah.
The tattoos, the voice, the look, the kind of chutzpah that he carries with him. And also how he brings it. I mean, lots of young people thought he beat Chris Eubank in that first fight. We know better because we know how to judge a fight.
Don't ban me in that, by the way. Don't ban me in that. Chris Eubank Jr. won that first fight.
And did you think he'd win the second fight?
But to be fair, yeah, I did, but I thought I've overlooked how much he put him into that first fight. Like, he put everything in.
Fight of the year, wasn't it, in terms of entertainment?
So, do you think if they fight again at super middleweight, which Chris is kind of alluding to, I love some of that. How do you think the result would be?
I think it's super middle. That is a big jump, but it's just about like the one, isn't it? I feel as if it might be a bit of a stretch, but obviously it adds a bit more leverage. But I feel as if Conor might still do it. He's just fresh, isn't he? He's fresh. That's the only thing. So I think Chris might struggle again.
Well, you know what? I just think with Chris, I think Chris, we've seen his better days, but he's actually becoming the boxing version of 50 Cent. He's trolling these boys heavily, isn't he? Trolling Eddie, trolling Conor.
He's been loving the news of the week, and he's been all over Twitter and all sorts.
Right, Faraz, final word. Who wins? Who wins at Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley?
It is a pick a minute. You know what? I genuinely really don't know.
Right, we're getting rid of you then because you're sitting on the fence. You're your time is up. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Faraz Noor. 5 sections. We'll have you back again. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers. Our pleasure was ours. Well, coming up next, Johnny and I will speak to George Glinsky, the talkSPORT boxing and MMA journalist. We'll talk about the stories of the week. We'll hear from Regis Prograis, and then in the final section tonight, we'll look at the trailer on the life of Bilal Fawaz, who's still fighting for a British passport, and we'll digest all the things that we've been discussing this evening in this seismic week for boxing. You're listening to Fight Night, or you're watching Fight Night on talkSPORT.
Declan Rice made a mistake, but Declan shows you how good he is. He didn't let it bother him. He was brilliant the rest of the game, and everybody makes mistakes. He put his hand up straight away. No, he's made a mistake, but after that, he was superb, absolutely superb, like he's been all season, by the way. And then the big plus point for the game was Gyökeres. It's got to be, because I thought without his goals, he played quite well, because he was always involved. He was making better runs. He was getting to more dangerous areas, but he took his goals very well. His first goal, if you look at his first goal, Al, it's a great first touch. You know, it's all about first touch in football. He gets out of his feet, and it's like it's the same motion as he touched. He's run onto it and he pinged it, and the keeper's had no chance. And the last goal was very, very similar. I'm not going to compare him with Thierry Henry, but the way he played on the right back shoulder, and it was a really good pass through to him. He was strong, but then he cut inside and he just found that he passed it into the net, which he's got to do more often. But he was getting so much better areas. But as I said before, you can't just have one game like that, Al. You've got to do it week in, week out.
Well, and that's where Declan is so good. It's every game.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know he's very elegant, is he? He's an elegant player, right?
Yes, you've got to get him on the ball as much as you can. He's very, very, he knows exactly who's around him. Look, Odegaard's a great player as well, and it'd be interesting to see what he does. Odegaard was on the bench against Spurs. He come on. But I think Eze probably will keep his position because he scored 2 goals.
Sing it, baby.
We are making it sing tonight. Myself, Gareth Davies, and Johnny Nelson on Fight Night on talkSPORT. I can't believe we're into the last hour. In fact, we're into the last 45 minutes. Let me just do a little competition read here before we're joined by George Glinsky, the boxing and MMA journalist stroke correspondent for talkSPORT.com. How does a VIP private suite for you and 11 mates for a day at the Cricket Sound this summer, thanks to Pitch Experiences? We're sending you to their super box at the Oval for the England versus Sri Lanka ODI in total luxury. We're talking fine dining, your own personal mixologist, private balcony and a Q&A with cricket legends while you watch the action. It's the ultimate summer day out. For your chance to win, text WIN, W-I-N, to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close on the 6th of March 2026 at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus UK residents only. This is a talkSPORT promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text WIN, W-I-N, to 83338 now. Well, Johnny Nelson, let's get back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I feel like we've been really round the houses tonight, but we are either going to the attic or the dungeon right now, talking about going round the houses with the one and only George Galinsky, who joins us every week. Hello, George. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well. In the flat today, so a completely different environment.
Oh, how boring. I love it when you're in the attic or the dungeon. Anyway, we'll leave that alone for now. But great to see you as always. What a week in Fight World, George? You'll have been hot off the presses with all your pieces this week. You've got 3 stories for us. Do you want to do it in descending order? Story 3?
Yeah, let's do it in descending order. A little bit of a different flavour with our stories today. Obviously, some massive breaking news over this week. It's probably been one of the most active ones, but a few stories that have kind of flown under the radar a little bit. One of them being that Elliot Amaweke, who is, of course, Chris Eubank Jr.'s manager, suggesting that Chris Eubank Jr. will be back in the ring, hopefully between September and November, back at £168, of course, after that defeat to Conor Benn. He hasn't been there since 2019 against James DeGale, so it'd be interesting to see him back at what they say is his natural weight, although, of course, he has competed at middleweight for the majority of his career. Very interested to see who you guys think he should fight now. After that defeat to Benn, it seems like a lot of doors have closed.
Well, I don't think he deserves a world title fight because he was a shadow of himself, a ghost of himself in that fight, that second fight in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last year. I think if he'd beaten Conor Benn, there was a chance that he might get the Saul Canelo Alvarez fight. I cannot believe that will be the opponent. Obviously, Canelo is taking Mexico against the world for Turkey Al Sheikh and Riyadh Season, Ring Magazine, whichever one it's going to be. He's going to captain Mexico against the rest of the world. You got any thoughts, Johnny, on who Chris Eubank should fight next?
I think it'll be... Chris has been very good at navigating himself into fights that create some attention, some controversy, some attraction. I think it'll be a UK fight, if I'm honest with you. A UK opponent, and that's what he'd aim for, even or even a European level fighter. I don't think he'll look on trying to conquer the world at this stage, and especially when his first fight super middle.
I would love him to go in against Hamza Shiraz, but every time I try and broach that subject with him, George, his team don't seem to be that interested. When I look down the super middleweight division, obviously we mentioned Alvarez, we mentioned Shiraz. Is there anyone else you see in the top 15 in the sanctioning bodies who you see as a viable opponent?
They've got to have a name as well. They've got to have a name attached to them.
It's difficult, no, because I was going to say just outside of the box is the winner of Callum Simpson versus Troy Williamson, but it's not really a big enough name.
It's not a stadium fight, George. It's not a stadium fight.
At all. It's going to be someone like a Shiraz, like a Canelo. Whether or not we think he deserves that sort of level of opponent after the defeat against Benn is another thing. I think he will end up fighting someone that is of that caliber.
Yeah, but we've got Canelo, I think, is being teased with Christian Mbili for the WBC title. I really don't see... what about, this is the big one, this is the one that would put bums on seats. You know I'm going to say here, I don't know if he can get down to 12 stone still, Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh my goodness! Again, that's a name.
That's the fight.
I'm talking about.
That's the fight. Doesn't need a title, does it?
That could entice Billy Joe into getting himself in shape and saying, "I'll have some of that." And that gets everything that Chris is all about. Gets the stadium in, gets the people talking, creates division. You have a love or hate for it. Good fight.
If Turkey Al Sheikh gets behind it, George, could you see that happening?
Well, it all depends whether or not Billy Joe Saunders can get into shape, to be quite honest with you. There's definitely some needle there. There's obviously history, a great first fight between the pair. I'd love to see it, but it really depends on Billy Joe, doesn't it? I mean,
finger on the pulse then, George. How many how many pounds would Billy have to lose right now, do you think? two stone, maybe?
I think he said he's at cruiserweight now, isn't he? He's 200 plus.
13-7. So he's going to have to lose 2 stone.
Timing's everything as well,
Yeah.
because Chris might think, you know what, he's been out there in all this time. Me and you, let's get it on straight away. And so he'll think, I'll get him now. So, to me, I think that's a perfect shout.
Second story, George.
Second story is a story that people have been clicking on quite a lot to do with sparring. Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley obviously coming up in a massive WBA heavyweight title fight. 8 years ago, it doesn't seem like much of a story, but it is something that people have been engaging with a lot. Dubois said that he got the better. He said he actually dominated Fabio Wardley, and Fabio Wardley has since come back and said that, he did get the better of me. But equally, this is very early on in a professional career for Fabio Wardley, who of course had no amateur background, came from a white-collar boxing background. Maybe we're reading too much into this, but people just love sparring stories.
2 pro bouts at the time, I believe he'd had when they sparred. We've had a discussion in the studio already tonight. We'll leave the floor to you here, George, on this. I've gone Dubois very dangerous early. The longer the fight goes on, the more dangerous Fabio Wardley gets. Johnny's quite similar in his take on it as well. How do you see the contest, and have you got a winner in your mind at the moment?
I mean, I've actually picked against Fabio Wardley since the 2 Fraser Clark fights.
Same.
So I've been horribly wrong with Fabio Wardley throughout my whole career. So I'm gonna pick Daniel Dubois once again, to be honest with you, just to keep it going, just to keep him proving me wrong. But honestly and truly, a Fabio Wardley fight is impossible to predict. He is such an enigma. He is the mental toughness, the punching power, the ability to pick out that shot from the gods. It's just uncanny, and he's so entertaining to watch. So I'll go with Daniel Dubois, but very reluctantly.
It's an old adage, isn't it, that if you've got elite level or world class power, it can get you out of trouble in a big heavyweight fight. Our third. Your third rather story of the week for our show, and we appreciate your diligence all week. We've actually got a little clip here, haven't we, that you're going to throw to of yourself with the one and only, the big Russian bear, Arslanbek Makhmudov.
Like, because before we used to speak with Anthony Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
We speak, we make a deal with him. He give me promise to fight in this year, but after he had to get a trouble, and no news. I asked my promoter. I said, "What news from Anthony Joshua?" He said, "I think it's no fight right now for sure." I said, listen, if no Joshua, I heard like Tyson Fury also as well looking for opportunity for need somebody for fight. I said, ask. I said, my promoter can ask for me. I can fight with him, no problem. And he asked, and they approve, and that's it.
Yeah, of course. There, Arslanbek Makhmudov is suggesting that he has promised a fight by Anthony Joshua before this whole Tyson Fury fight came about with Netflix. Was unable, of course, to fulfill that promise due to the tragic circumstances, involvement in a car crash in Nigeria. Talks then, of course, go quiet. Arslanbek Makhmudov, after his fight against Dave Allen, he wants to keep that trajectory going. He wants to keep the momentum going. And then he puts in a little offer to Netflix, to the promoters. What about Tyson Fury? And it really did move that quickly. It was that simple, he says. He's leaving no stone unturned in this camp, training up in Mount Elbrus, obviously the biggest mountain in Europe. I said Russia, but in fact it's Europe. My geography is absolutely terrible. But he is a remarkable individual and a really humble and really nice guy.
Final one from you today. Johnny and I both think that Tyson Fury ought to be able to pick him apart and stop him, Arslanbek, in 6 to 8 rounds. And then obviously sail on into potentially fights with Alexander Usyk, the winner of Fabio Wardley or Daniel Dubois, and obviously the fight we'd all love to see with Anthony Joshua late this year or even early next year. All on Netflix, we believe, right now. Netflix being the watchword at the moment. How do you see Arslanbek as an opponent for Tyson in your final statement tonight?
I think stylistically he's perfect for Tyson. He's, his footwork is his weakness. Obviously, Tyson is a great mover, great jab. I see him sort of keeping him on the end of that shot, and then, as you say, finishing him sort of mid to late rounds. A tough man, very heavy-handed, sort of clubbing, concussive power. Definitely something that Tyson needs to keep his wits about. But providing he does, I do see him getting this done inside the distance.
Great stuff, George. Thank you as always. Let's hopefully get you back in the attic or the cellar next time. It's not the same with you being in a normal flat. Great to see you as always. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks so much.
You're watching Fight Night. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and Johnny Nelson. Next up, we'll be joined by the man who will face Conor Benn on April the 11th at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Regis Prograis.
Let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Has Igor Tudor already bitten off more than he can chew? Is it strange to hear a Tottenham manager speaking about a small club mentality? This is him talking about the scale of the task ahead.
Very tough, but this is what I said before. I don't change my opinion. It is how is it. So daily work, focus, raise in all things we need to do. Physical condition, mental confidence, performance, and waiting the players to come back.
Is this the biggest job in terms of, we would call it firefighting, you've had?
Probably if I recognize the difficulties there are, probably yes. Probably yes.
You're still
but
confident?
It's even bigger challenge, even a bigger motivation to do this, and we do it. We do it, but I agree with you. Even not looking to the style now in this moment. So style need to be in a second moment, this because now it's a question of life and death. It's really the question that every game need to be prepared in that way. How we gonna take these points? One way, other way. In Italy they use the terms, like have a mentality of a small team. We use it in Italy that kind. So that's the key always. With the handles, with the willing, with the wish to have always motivation, like you play against bigger teams. So that's the start, of course, and then we work a lot of that. They are aware of everything.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT. Johnny, put your phone away. We've still got half an hour's work to do.
I'm just doing my research, my friend. So
okay, well, that's fine. I thought I saw you boogieing away something. It's been a great night with Johnny Nelson here in the studio. We're into our last half an hour. We're here with you till midnight. Thank you for watching and listening tonight on Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Gareth Davies. We are going to be joined, I believe he's on the line, the man who will face Conor Benn on April the 11th at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the undercard of Tyson Fury against Arslanbek Makhmudov. Is very well known to British audiences, of course. The fights with Terry Flanagan, Josh Taylor, Tyrone McKenna, Jack Catterall. the one and only Mr. Regis Prograis. Roujarou, good evening, sir. How are you?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? How y'all doing?
You in the
man?
middle of your dinner or something?
No. This electrolyte drink. No. It's right here, so I'm just might as well put it in there. Right, that's all.
I do love you. You're looking very well. It's been a great tenure. Tell us first of all when you found out about fighting Conor Benn and how it came about.
Man, honestly, that was like a few days ago now. It was like, I think 4 days or something like that. It just came out the blue. I got a call. Somebody called me and they said that Conor Benn, it could be on the table for me to fight him. So I was like, all right, cool. And at first I was like, all right, so, I know Conor Benn is a little bigger than me. My plan was to, of course, I've been at 40 my whole career. I won belts twice at 140. So my goal was I want to go up to 147. I want to do it the right way. I want to go to 145 at first and then maybe go to 47. But they offered this fight at 150. So, when they did say that, I said, well, why not? Can we make the weight at 147? They said no. What about 149? They said no. So I said, what about the weight stipulation? I know he did to Chris Eubank his last fight, and they said no. So of course I said, all right, maybe not. But then next day I told my manager Brian Pease, I said, man, get the fight. I want the fight. Let's make it happen. So of course, because of weight stipulation, we got a few more dollars and stuff like that. But I was like, man, I do feel like I could beat. I feel like I'm better than Conor Benn. I feel like I could beat him. So they made the fight happen quick.
Tell us about your style. And at 150, it's good to know all this. At 150, you only found out this week. Did you accept it immediately?
Yes, I did. As soon as they said that they say no to everything. They say no to the request for even weighing in at 149. They said no. So I said, what about a weight stipulation? They said no. I said, well, let's do it. I don't care. Let's just do it. I'll still fight him. I don't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I'll still take the fight. So yeah, I was with it.
Who is they when you're talking to? Who was it that you were talking to for the negotiation?
I was telling my manager, and I'm pretty sure my manager was talking to his people, his side, whoever they were talking to. I mean, I'm not on the phone with him and stuff like that, but that's the manager's job.
Does your style, and we know how you box, does your style give Conor problems?
I think so. I just think I feel like I'm a better fighter than Conor all around. I really feel like that. I mean, I know that he's a little bigger than me, a little stockier than me, but I just feel like, man, that's not gonna matter, man. I've been working for a long time, and no matter if he comes in the ring at 180, 190, 200 pounds, I feel like I'll be good. I don't feel like, and don't be surprised if I'm stronger than him too. So.
Regis Johnny Nelson here, my friend. Good to see you. Just a quick one. What did you hear about the big deal that Conor got with Zuffa? What was your thoughts on that?
Of course I heard about that. That's why I was like excited about it too. Of course we heard about that, right? So, yeah. I mean, 'cause for me, look, besides me and him fighting, I'm always on the fighter side, man. Get the most money you can get. I know about the whole thing with the Eddie Hearn situation and stuff like that. But man, if you're getting $15 million for one fight, and if this the fight for it, man, look.
Was he disloyal? Was he disloyal to leave Eddie like that?
All right, I think for me, I did interviews about this. I think it's always three sides to the story, right? So Eddie did, from what I understand, Eddie loaned him hundreds of thousands of pounds. He was there from the get-go, and actually, I remember kind of fought on my undercard when I fought Josh Taylor a long time ago, 2019. So Eddie, Eddie's been there from the start. But Eddie is clever. Eddie's a clever person, and Eddie probably saw that Conor Benn is going to fight Chris Eubank. He probably saw that 6 years in the making, and it's going to be a huge fight. So Eddie did loan Conor a lot of money, but at the same time, Eddie got all that back plus more. I know he did because he had 2 Eubank fights, and so I know Eddie got all that back plus more. So you can say he's not loyal, ungrateful, but at the same time, man, like, look. I'm always with the fighter and all about the fighters and stuff like that, and get the most money you can, because guess what? Like, once you're done with this, once you're retired, the promoter is still gonna be promoting, and you're not gonna have, you're not gonna be able to make your money in the boxing no more unless you do something else. So I'm all about the fighter making as much money as they can while they can.
Are you getting one of your biggest career paydays?
I was going to ask that.
I don't like to talk about. I'm not gonna talk about. I can't say it. Somebody asked me yesterday. I can't say it. Look, I don't like nobody. I don't like talking about money with nobody. I can't do it. Look, I ain't talking about money with nobody. I don't, cause you know what, people gonna be asking. You know, once people know you got money, they making money. They gonna be, you know, your hands gonna be out. So I can't say that.
60,000 people to 70,000 people will be in that stadium on Saturday night. Are you going to ruin the party for Conor Benn?
I feel like I am. Yeah, that's why I took the fight. I took the fight because I feel like I'm better. I do feel like I'm a better fighter than Conor Benn. That's it. You know, all around. I feel like this, man. Like if Conor Benn didn't have the last name Benn, like I don't know, you know, where he would be. He wouldn't be as popular as he is now. He's, you know, he made a lot of money. He's popular now because, you know, he fought Chris Eubank twice because of, you know, it goes back and it's a great storyline. But no, I mean, look, man, he had a dad that came up. Congrats to him. He had a dad that came up that boxed. And for me, I didn't have none of that stuff. I got this stuff out the mud. You know, I became a champion with no boxing family at all. I never had nobody in this. I'm the first person in my family bloodline, the first program that ever did this. And I am where I am. So, point blank, I feel like I'm better.
Do you rate him? Do you rate him?
Do I rate him? What? Yeah. It's what?
As a fight, is a danger. Do you rate him? Do you rate the position he's in? Do you rate him as, you know, do you rate him to say he's valued at $15 million, man?
I mean, I don't think he's rated as $15 million, but I'm not mad at him either. At the same time, look, if you get that money, man, you go get your money. That's why I say I'm all about the fighters making their money. I mean, Johnny, you was a fighter one time. You getting that money, you love it, right? You know, so I'm not mad about that. But like for me, I think that Conor's a okay fighter, but same thing. I feel like I'm better. Weight wise, no matter what it is, I feel like I'm better.
I just want to clarify that it's Seller who has paid Conor Benn's money, by the way, and that's been clarified by Zuffa because they've had disputes from UFC fighters on the amount of money that they've been earning, and TKO have said no, it's Seller that are paying Conor Benn this money. It's not coming out of the UFC holdings. What's your take? It's been an extraordinary week with lawsuits and all sorts of things flying around, and Zuffa Boxing clearly being involved in bringing an event to the UK. There's talk about them being involved with Sky Sports over here. How do you see what's happening in the boxing world at the moment, Regis? Because obviously it's changed in our lifetimes in the last 3 years, really. Boxing's changed extraordinarily at the moment. How do you see it playing out?
I mean, I think it's shaking up. It's a good. For me, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. But right now, I think it's a good thing that it's just shaking up. You know, you got the Zuffa Boxing. I went to one of the shows. I kind of like it. I like the whole setup about it. It's shaking things up right now. That's all I can say. And they paying people good. You know, why not? Like I said earlier, I'm all about the fighters making as much money as they can, because once you're done, you're done. You can't make no more money no more. So it's you know, it seemed like a cool thing to me.
So tell me, what do you expect? How do you think this fight will go when you get him with Conor? Is it going to be a long night? Is it going to be a short night? Or are you just going to do your thing?
I'm going to do my thing, man. I'll never predict long night, short night. It's going to be a short night because it's 10 rounds. That's not a long time at all. But I could do 10 rounds. Well, a few weeks ago, I probably couldn't do 10 rounds. But now I can do 10 rounds. I'm pretty sure I can do 10 rounds kind of easy. So I know it's 10 rounds is, for me, 10 rounds is a short night.
What version of you we're going to see? Remember, so you've won 3 of your last 5 fights. You're 37 years old. How fresh are you? How much of a sting you still got in your shop?
Oh man, I feel like one thing. I feel like this, man. I've been getting better. How? I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know what's going on with me, my body and stuff. Like, I'm 37, but I'm still doing all the same work. These guys in the gym. I've been in Vegas training for a while, and I've been staying out here, and I feel like I'm getting better. You know, like all the people that I've been working with, the training stuff, they just teaching me more and more stuff, and I actually became a champion twice without knowing none of these things, and it's surprising that I did that, but I feel like I'm better. I can still do all the workload. I just gotta take care of my body a little more. You know, at first, I'm not gonna lie, man. When I was coming up, this might surprise people, but like I remember I had fights and I was on dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff like that 2 days before my fight, so I just was doing stuff. Now, obviously, I don't do that no more because if I fall off, I hurt myself, I won't be able to fight. But I just take care of my body a lot more. Like, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do no drugs. So I'm able to, I'm able to compete at a higher level for a longer time. And right now, like I said, you just saw me doing some electrolyte stuff. I'm just taking care of my body, just way more, drinking water like I'm supposed to. But early in my career, man, I didn't do none of that stuff. So now I just feel like I'm just more serious about my, about my body. And yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Regis Rujaru. It's great to see you, as always. We can't wait to see you step into the ring on April 11th at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Conor
Yes,
Ben.
sir.
Stay well, travel well. We look forward to seeing you in early April.
Yes, sir. I will see y'all. Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers, Regis. Regis Prograis there. Johnny and I are going to recap the evening, recap the great Bilal Fawaz, who was in for half an hour earlier, and talk about all these tectonic plates shifting in boxing over the last week. We'll be back with that in a minute.
Betty just brought in a packet of disco salt and vinegar, which I smashed down in that ad break. We've talked about Chris before. We won't go there necessarily. Unbelievable packet of Chris.
I think they could be their top three for definite. They could be Mount Rushmore, them.
Oh yeah, 100% Mount Rushmore. Yeah. The problem with that, and like all things now, I was going to say Chris, but all like Twix, Snickers, crisps, everything's smaller now.
No, but usually there's I grabbed these but usually there's a bigger bag than this.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
What does it say? What's that? It's 55. Oh, 55p for that.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I don't think that was that bad. But it says underneath RRP.
Yeah.
What's that?
Retail price.
Okay, 55p.
Yeah. What do you think it was like? They're going to die. Rest in peace.
Nah. There's a couple of items in the shop that I bought it from.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obviously not going to name where the shop is.
Yeah.
It says it says on the can, not for single sale.
Yeah.
Oh, why are you sending single cokes then?
Are they doing that?
Yeah, I never tell you it is.
You can't do that.
I'd never ever say where it's from, but that I don't mind
An
that.
actual shop?
Yes.
Around here?
Not for. Oh, I'm telling you, not for individuals.
You can tell me where is it? Is it downstairs or across the road?
No, it's not around here.
So it is.
The shop I go to, I can sell them. Not for individual sale.
You know what that means, right?
What?
As you tell your daughters, put your phone down.
Put your phone
when
down.
You're either at the dinner table.
Well, if I'm honest with you, my daughter lives out in Dubai, so
No,
all
I
the stuff that's
don't-
happening
well, I
there,
hope she's okay
I'm just
tonight.
watching
We won't get
things,
into that,
making
but I
sure
hope she's
good.
okay tonight.
Yeah.
Put your phone down when you're in the studio as well, please. Look, you're just looking at yourself in the mirror to make sure your hair was in the right position. It's been a great night with you in here, Johnny. After discussing things tonight, the $1 billion lawsuit that's not quite there yet from Queensberry Promotions towards Salah and TKO about the ruminations of them. They should be the promoter involved with Salah on the big events, even though they have been until last November. We understand Conor Ben crossing over to a Zuffa boxing event, crossing over to a Salah event, leaving Eddie Hearn, Alexander Usyk facing Rico Verhoeven, who most people listening to this show will never have heard of, for the WBC heavyweight title. We've heard from Regis Prograis tonight. Have you ever known a week in boxing with so many twists and turns? I remember in '88, and I do remember this, even though I wasn't a correspondent. I started writing about boxing in 1990. when Mike Tyson left Bill Caton for Don King, and in 2006 when Floyd Mayweather bought himself out of his deal for about 650 grand.
That was noise. That was a lot
out of Top Rank and Bob Arum. There were lots of noise around those two.
Frank Warren and Don King's lawsuit.
That lawsuit, the cars that they bought for each other, the 8 million quid or whatever it was that Don King sued Frank Warren for. These were seismic things in the sport. The night Frank Warren was shot, they were really big. But can you ever remember a week with this many twists?
I can't because now we've got various players, various chess moves. You've got Eddie, you've got Frank, you've got Dana, you've got Turkey. So, and all this is in 1 week. And the thing is, with the emergence of social media, the public can get more involved, take a side, have an opinion, and think they know the ins and outs. The devil's always in the detail. That's all I say about Eddie and Conor. We don't know the detail of this contract he has for 15 mil. Is it really for one fight? You don't know. So until we hear from Conor, then there's more meat on the bones in regards to Frank and in his lawsuit. Again, will that end up in court? Do I think it will do? I don't think it'll end up in court, but I think Frank's burnt a bridge there with Turkey, I think
that will come around again.
Yeah, he'll come around, but no.
The war is very public now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
which wasn't necessarily from Turkey L Shape, but came out on Ring magazine.
That was him basically saying, "Look,
we don't know that. We don't know."
Okay.
We do not know it's him. It could have been anyone.
It wouldn't have gone without his say so. Trust me, that wouldn't have gone without his say so.
Okay.
So in a year's time, or maybe 2 years' time. The same scenario is going to happen, but it won't be over these waters, over these shores, because Turkey's main intention is to run the whole game, and that's what's going to happen. And then, I'll throw another curveball in, don't be surprised if Dana and Eddie join forces when that happens.
Well, that's very interesting, but also over and above, it is very interesting, but over and above that, we look at the acquisition of Netflix by Paramount Plus, or by the Paramount company in the last week as well. You look at the bigger picture with everything, the power struggles that are going on in terms of that media conglomeration, the TKO Holdings Group, the TKO Group Holdings, already estimated wealth of 30 billion plus, WWE, Slap, UFC, now Zuffa Boxing. They've got 500 million from Paramount Plus over the next 5 years to put on their boxing, $500 million US, 370 million pounds to put on their boxing events over the next 5 years. That's underwritten by this huge treasure chest that the Saudis have with their 950 million US in their public investment fund, which is kind of investing in sport and entertainment. There's a big power picture here. Dana White on the one hand, obviously on the board of Meta, this giant conglomeration that he's a part of, the Saudis growing their resonance. The end game that you're talking about, they achieved it with sport and entertainment in Europe and captured the European imagination. Maybe America is the next place on the landscape when they have achieved, when everybody knows what the Saudis do and they've opened up their society to America. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do move on.
Yeah, and listen, there's other players that will jump into the pitch. Don't forget Amazon. Amazon have been talking about getting into boxing.
It's a good point, Amazon as
Amazon
well.
been talking about getting into boxing for a long time.
Yeah.
So there's been plotting, there's been planning. They'll look at Netflix, they'll look at what's going on, they'll look at everything's fractured and everybody's pulling left, right and centre. So all of a sudden Amazon jumping on the scene. So all of a sudden Netflix is thinking, there's competition at this level here. This is the game changing, but hopefully there'll be a structure in our game that will, one, see fighters get paid more money. That's number one. Two, get rid of the Cowboys.
Ain't gonna happen.
Trust me.
That won't change. Top of the pyramid will get paid massively, and they're not going to spread the money out. That's not the way it works.
Shall I tell you why? Because everybody's trying to compete against each other, so they want all the fighters. Like at the moment, Turkey wants all the fighters that are getting paid heavily. Netflix is getting the fighters in. So, but remember, your Franks and your Eddies, they're still going to operate like they did before, and they've now got to up what they're paying the fighters because they'll think
it's an inflated market at the moment. There's no question.
Which is a great time to be a fighter
if you're at the top. If you're at the top, Because it's always been a top-down business. It's always been about who can put bums on seats. It's always about hype and promotion. You know, for me, the journeyman won't get rewarded. The middle tier fighters won't get rewarded. It's the big names that will get rewarded. And there are 35 to 40 of them in the world.
I'm working on a savings scheme for fighters. Where fighters,
I have heard about this.
Yeah,
Please tell us
where
about
fighters will get will be able to invest into a savings scheme. It's a percentage of their purse each time they fight goes into their savings scheme.
Because it happened for you, didn't it?
It happened for me. Barry Hearn did an amazing job, and I thought, Barry, why don't you do this again? He got too much hassle. So I've been talking to the lawyers of London. We've been on this. We're almost over the line. Spoke to British Boxing One of Control. The idea is get to 40 years old. Your savings scheme can either cash it in or push it onto a pension. If you talk to a 20-year-old about having a pension, you talk to a pension about having a 20-year-old about having a pension when they're 50 of now. They don't want to know. You give them a savings scheme where it's their money that goes in, 5% of their purse, whatever it is, and a contribution from the governing body that is created to go into their own savings scheme. Then fighters will think, you know what, there's some structure to this because our sport is full of so many fighters, household names that have got nothing to show for it. And so to me, this is what we're working on, and this is creating structure in our sport, which is so important.
Johnny, you've been brilliant tonight, and that's a great point to finish on. It's been great to be with you in the studio tonight, and it was great to have Bilal Fawaz, the British and Commonwealth champion, in the studio with us, who has no passport. A final message tonight to the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood. We are campaigning for him to get his British passport, just as Johnny's campaigning for boxers to have health and wealth in their later lives and after their careers are over, because it's a long life after boxing. It's been a long wait for Bilal Fawaz. 24 years nearly that he's been here and hasn't had a British passport and the right to travel outside the country. Have a little look out. We're going to play a little trailer from the documentary, but we aren't able to get it out to you tonight here on talkSPORT. We are all campaigning right now for Bilal. Look out for that documentary next week. This is a guy who deserves the right to travel and to represent the country as a British champion fighting for a world title. He's represented the UK. He's been so gracious about it all as well. It's been great fun with you here tonight, Johnny. We'll be back next. We've got loads of big events coming up. We've got all those big heavyweight fights. Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin on the 28th of March. Then we move to Derek War-Chisora and Deontay Wilder the week after. We'll be there for talkSPORT.
Big weekend.
Tyson Fury, and then Arslanbek Makhmudov.
MVP show on the
MVP show on the 5th.
Easter Sunday.
So it's a busy, big show that's boxing's got coming up. You've been listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and him, Johnny Nelson. We will see you next time.